Armed Services Committee, and Admiral Mullins at that time was asked what's the greatest threat the United States faces, and I thought I would hear some military challenge, and he didn't even hesitate by saying that the
You have Eric Clapton's Tears
I don't
video?
have anything, Tom.
Okay. We got to get here 2 hours before go over all stuff.
Well, you guys can't come in on me in the last 5 minutes and start throwing stuff on me when I'm setting stuff.
No, you were setting stuff up. You're still setting stuff up.
I know, I'm trying to get everything to work.
Yeah, we'll get it.
I mean, maybe we should just be at the studio, at the radio station
No, can't do that.
until we have all the equipment. Why
No,
are we?
yeah. Yeah, I'm here. What'd you say?
It broke last night, CJ.
Okay.
Duff, what'd you say?
Of course it did.
What do you need to do now? Looking at the YouTube screen and up there?
YouTube.com/United West.
Yeah, youtube.com/ one word, The United West. And it'll be the first thumbnail.
/United West.
Yes.
First drop down Tuesday, February 26th. I'm back.
Got it.
Okay, it should be playing right now.
Okay.
Let me know if you see it.
I see it.
Okay, pick it up. All yours.
All right, well, hold on a second. We're just playing the spot deal. I'll let you know when you can start.
Okay.
Andy's been calling me.
It's gonna call you.
Okay, I'm just gonna use the microphone. I'm not gonna risk this.
We don't need these things here. Here's the time, look.
I can't see it. I mean, you can see it, but I can't see it. Unless I lean all the way back.
Okay. 10 seconds. It's actually a little fast.
Slide off, Mark.
2, we're starting 2 or 1? Start with 1 if you can. I'm waiting for you, Duff. Okay, here we go. Tom Trento. Good afternoon, February 26th, 1993. Excuse me, February 26th, 2013, 20 years after February 26th, 1993. And today we're going to take a look back 20 years ago to an event that occurred on this day, February 26th, 1993. A day that lives in many respects in infamy. And it's one of these days, where they come and they go, and while they're here for a while, they kind of heat up and generate a lot of attention. But then as the years go by, life takes over, and the immediate issue is mitigated, is softened. But we want to look back 20 years at an event that occurred in Lower Manhattan on February 26, 1993, when the World Trade Center was attacked for the first time. And as we know, September 11th, 2001, the second attack was extremely successful from the terrorists' point of view. But it's time to reflect back and pull some lessons out of what occurred exactly on February 26th, 1993, and what the implications are for today as we try to figure out what this jihad and what this Sharia and what this terrorism is all about. And we have a special guest with us. Tell me when he's ready.
He's ready.
He's ready. Special guest, can you hear me?
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day, we have Andrew McCarthy, a former prosecutor, Southern District of New York City, currently an esteemed author, columnist, and just all-around great guy, colleague of mine with Team B2 on Sharia, the Threat to America. Andy, 20 years ago today, February 26, 1993, where were you on that particular day?
I was in my office in New York, Tom, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Lower Manhattan, and initial reports there, we were about 6 blocks from the World Trade Center, and the initial reports were that there had been a transformer explosion. But it was in pretty short order that we learned that it was a sophisticated chemical bomb, a urea nitrate bomb that was 1,400 pounds and aimed to kill not only thousands of people at the epicenter of the explosion. This, by the way, was a Friday at noon, where we later proved in court that there would be anywhere typically from about 60,000 to 120,000 people in that very dense area of Lower Manhattan. But they actually laced the explosive with cyanide and hydrogen tanks. They were hoping to aerate the cyanide and kill thousands of people remote from the explosion as well.
Yeah, I did a little research into the bomb, and this was not a bunch of yokels throwing dynamite and nails and springs and stuff. This was an extremely sophisticated chemical bomb, and not only that, but the engineering and the placement of it was critical. Now, for the sake of our audience, and I know we just have you for a few minutes, you were the lead prosecutor on this case, and we want to jump ahead in a second to a gentleman that's enjoying the hospitality of the U.S. government in North Carolina. But tell us about the placement of the bomb. What was the intent of the terrorists' placement?
Well, their hope, Tom, was that they would get it near a main support beam of the structure. I'm not an architect, so we're now at the outer limits of what I grasp here. But the idea was to put it near a main support beam, and they hoped to collapse one tower. And if they got really lucky, that the one tower would carry them off the other tower and take that one down along with it. So that was the goal. They probably missed the sweet spot from their perspective by, maybe 30 yards or so.
Wow. By the grace of God. Who were the main actors, and where are these guys today?
Well, everybody who was tried in the case, there were a few World Trade Center related trials, as it turned out. Everybody who was indicted was convicted. The plot was carried out by a cell that was formed by the blind sheikh Omar Abdul Rahman in the New York area in the late 1980s. Members of the cell not only carried out the World Trade Center bombing. One prominent member was a guy by the name of Saeed Nossair, who committed one of the most famous homicides in the recent history of New York City, the killing of Rabbi Meir Kahane, the right-wing founder of the Jewish Defense League. That was in 1990. And after the Trade Center attack, they actually had an even more ambitious plot to simultaneously take out a series of New York City landmarks, including the Lincoln and Holland tunnels, the UN's headquarters on the east side of Manhattan, and the FBI's headquarters in Lower Manhattan.
We are going to, in this first hour here on Trento Vision and WNN 1470, broadcasting out of Boca Raton, we're going to really dive into the details of this because there's some significant lessons that need to be drawn. But as I said, you just got one of your books has been, Spring Fever was published today, I believe, correct?
Yeah, that's right, Tom. The Spring Fever, The Illusion of Islamic Democracy, originally came out as an ebook in September, and evidently there was enough demand for it that people wanted a paperback. So Encounter Books and I got together, and we've gotten a paperback version of it, and that's out as of today. I'm very gratified, obviously, that people cared enough about it that they wanted a good old-fashioned dead tree version of the book. I sort of sympathize with that since I'm a book lover myself.
No, it's wonderful holding that dead wood in your hand, for sure. Did you
Yeah,
think...
it's very hard to sign people's iPads too. They don't
yeah,
want
that's true, that's true. Did you think 20 years ago when you were in court, well, the trial started in 1994, correct?
Yeah, January 1995. We're actually on trial day for day almost at the same exact time as the O.J. Simpson trial.
Oh, my word. That's interesting. Did you think 20 years later you'd be writing books on this subject?
I think I sure hope not, for a couple of reasons. I mean, writing books about it, I guess I always wanted to write, and I certainly wanted to write about the experience, but I guess two things cut in the other direction. One is that I really feel strongly that when people get together in a room to make important decisions, whoever is the principal, in this case it was the United States Attorney, and people in the Justice Department, including the Attorney General, I think they're entitled to the best advice that everybody can give, and that's hard to do if everybody in the room thinks that the guy next to him is about to, write a book about it. So I tried to write a book in a way that respected those confidences. And I guess the other element of it is there wouldn't be such an imperative to write a book about this and explain the threat to people if the threat hadn't continued to be so lethal for our country, and if we hadn't continued to have our head in the sand about it.
Yeah, and that book you wrote some years back was Willful Blindness. And
Right.
give us an update on where Omar Abdel Rahman, the blind sheikh, is right now. And do you think Egypt, with Mohamed Morsi, the president, when he comes here, do you think they're putting sufficient pressure on President Obama for this administration to release the blind sheikh back to Egypt?
Well, I think we'll see. I mean, as I understand it, the blind sheikh is in a high-security prison, I believe on the East Coast now. They don't, keep me abreast of where he's moved, which he is from time to time. He can't be in the same kind of confinement as other people because of his physical maladies. He's not only blind, he's got a number of other medical issues. So he's probably also getting better care, by the way, than he's ever gotten in his life while he's in American custody. But as for what will happen with him, I think we'll get an interesting read on that next month when I understand President Obama is at least contemplating a trip to Egypt.
Oh boy! And one other key player, Lynn Stewart. She was the attorney for the blind sheikh. Now, for the sake of the audience, folks, Andy McCarthy's on the phone. Tom Trento here. We do a lot of work on the Sharia issue. The blind sheikh is not some schmuck from Egypt. This may be one of the most significant Islamic scholars, Sharia scholars. He's a student of the Quran in Braille, interestingly enough. He went to Al-Azhar, and he is highly respected by the jihadis as the pure articulator of the Sharia doctrine that is energized by jihad for the ultimate goal of Islam, that is subjugation of the world and the implementation of Sharia. Lynn Stewart, an American, was his lawyer. Where's this chick right now, Andy?
Lynn Stewart was convicted of material support to terrorism, Tom, for communicating messages from the blind sheikh to his terrorist organization in Egypt, and she got a 10-year sentence for material support to terrorism. And on the issue of the blind sheikh's renown as a scholar, I'll leave you with this thought. The blind sheikh is a guy who can't do anything that would be useful to a terrorist organization because of his physical problems. He can't build a bomb, can't conduct an assassination, can't orchestrate an attack. The only thing he can do for a terrorist organization is lead it. And the source of his profound influence on the worldwide jihadist community is precisely his mastery of Islamic doctrine. The fact that he's a doctor of Islamic jurisprudence, graduated from the famous Al-Azhar University, which is the seat of Islamic learning since the 10th century. That's the source of his power and influence over people who commit mass murder.
All right, Andy, give us give America a concluding lesson from 20 years ago today, the first World Trade Center bombing. What do you want to leave for Americans to learn from this?
I think that people need to understand, Tom, that the jihadists are not wanton killers. They have a coherent ideology, which is what impels them to act. Jihad is always and everywhere about the implementation of Sharia, and it's the same goal that the Muslim Brotherhood has when it either supports the terrorism of its Palestinian branch Hamas, when it does media campaigns, when it does academic campaigns, when it runs for public office. These jihadist groups and these Islamist groups have some tactical differences between them, but the important thing for people to recognize is that their goal is precisely the same, and that is to impose Sharia as a precondition for Islamizing societies.
Yeah, great news from Andy McCarthy, but you know what, folks? This is an individual that's telling the truth and telling it in a very dramatic way and has proved it, fighting this battle for over 20 years now. Andy McCarthy, we'll see you. Enjoy the rest of the day as you do many interviews. If somebody wants to get your new book or get in touch with you, how could they do that?
Best way, Tom, is by my website, which is andrewcmccarthy.com, and they can learn about the books, and if they're interested, follow the other things I write as well.
All right, we'll see you. Have a great day. Thanks for
Thanks, Tom.
stopping by.
Thanks,
Okay,
Andy.
bye-bye.
Thanks, Andy.
Nice little interview with
yeah,
him.
that was
Yeah.
a great interview. We were with
It's
him
always a
at
thrill to talk to him. It's
Foley
always a thrill
Square,
to talk
weren't
to
we?
him.
The what?
At Foley Square.
Foley's. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Right outside the. That was Khalid Sheikh
protesting
Mohammed.
Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's.
All right. There are a
Can
million
you turn that camera on?
ways to go right now. And that was a very good start. I got a little clock here. I could actually hear myself somewhat. I'm going to turn one of these knobs while we are talking. Is that you or me that I'm making louder? Not you?
You're just making yourself.
Hello, hello. Oh, there we go. That's me. Oh, I got an echo, but I think that's the room. But that's okay. I can live with that.
No, that's your head listening to yourself speak.
My head listening to myself. Sounds interesting. My head listening to myself. That's we're going to get into President Obama in the second hour, but he received an Academy Award. President Obama did for the best actor in America, and I wrote a little something about that. We'll touch base on that in the second hour. First hour, we truly want to get into the details because sadly, most Americans know very, very little about the World Trade Center bombing #1. Who was behind it, what the motivation was, what the implications were, what the consequences are, and how this stuff is viewed by the jihadis. Oh, this mic is not duct taped down. We are stepping up here on Trento Vision.
It looks good.
And the audio, Andy's audio on our high-tech system sounded very good too.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
We're getting
Welcome.
there.
What?
Said we're getting there.
We're getting there.
Show
slowly.
everybody your new mic stand and
Yeah, look at
everything that
this,
you've been
man.
complaining about
Don't
for the
move
last.
it. Don't move it.
And CJ, you even have a microphone today.
I have a
Don't you feel
microphone.
Get a little
special?
closer though.
Yes,
please.
I'm not supposed to talk, but yeah, I have a mic of
Go
my
closer.
own.
Let me see something.
No,
No, I'm
Oh.
not leaning like
Oh,
this.
see, that's so much
That's
better.
so much better.
No,
But-
but,
but-
yeah, I can't sit here and talk like
Yes,
this.
you can.
It is a little. It is a
Looks like
little.
you're at the derby.
We do need the.
And over to my right, we have Tom Trento, who's going to start telling us about the World
All
Trade
right,
Center
all
bombing
the
from
red.
1993.
There
Hey!
we go. Sea biscuit in the lead.
Sold to the Americans.
So,
We need the little sock that goes on here. Otherwise,
are you guys ever happy? When are you gonna say,
Yeah, where's
Mark?
the
I'm
mittens?
really happy.
mittens.
I'm really happy today, Mark.
one of our folks said, "Don't you guys monitor anything?" Trento
What do you
Vision
mean,
wasn't
monitor?
Monitor anything? We're trying to get to work. What are you
does
talking about?
monitor
Monitor
Yeah.
me.
Mort had a whole list. I spoke to Mort on the way home yesterday, and he had a whole list of critiques, and I said, that's all very interesting. Why don't you
Oh,
call
Mort did?
Mark and tell him all about it?
Hey, stand in line, Mart.
Everybody's a director.
Everybody's director. Everybody's a technical director.
No, but the audio sounds so much better here. Go close. Let me see what's going on. I can hear you pretty well.
Okay, I am closer.
No, you see, I hear you. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah.
Well,
I can always hear you. I can hear you without a microphone. I
microphone.
can hear you from
Okay.
across the street.
well,
You
we're
just have
letting
that
we're letting in.
projection
We're letting
voice.
in. Oh, he's playing with the audio now.
No, I'm trying to.
We're letting in. We're letting our audience, the viewers and viewers and watchers, the
Yeah.
viewers and listeners. We're letting you into behind the scenes development. You can plot our development each day. It still isn't WNN quality, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing static.
That's
Yes, static.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're letting
We
our
are
viewers and listeners
practicing on you.
practicing on,
practicing
on radio
on you.
crash test dummies.
Yep.
But we have solved one problem. Hot.
Oh, it's lovely in here today.
Yes. We have chilled the place down, and we have 18 fans blasting off camera that cool things off a bit, which is very, very nice. 'cause
It does
it's-
not feel like a bunker at all.
No, there's 4 big, very hot lights right here. 5, 6 very hot lights.
Yeah, and we still don't look good. I just don't understand
No, you look
this.
fine.
I said we.
Oh. It's my new. Okay. You want to make fun of me?
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay. how's
Okay.
that? All right.
Well, I'm
that better?
dripping in
My
sweat.
FBI hat.
Well, you guys are nice and cool over here. I'm dripping in sweat behind
My-
you.
Okay,
oh,
but
yeah.
you sound good.
I sound good. Yes, I do.
This is
Yeah.
my FBI Saipan hat. So, Tom Trento, Trento Vision is the name of the show. Now, I shouldn't be popping it. Trento Vision is the name of the show. We're broadcast on Trento Vision, and you're watching us. Is Trento Vision on?
Yes.
There,
yes.
oh, you can watch
Yes,
on
Tom. Yes, Tom.
TrentoVision.tv. Hey, he's monitoring it. And you can watch on Tea Party Community. Welcome, Tea Party Community partners in not in crime, but in solving crime.
In
You're our
solving
partners in
crime.
solving crime.
Yeah.
And YouTube, you can go directly to youtube.com/.
The United West.
The United West.
Yes.
Or our old favorite, you can download an application. Yeah, that's getting a little better. We have to just tweak that out. Download an application on your smartphones called
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
And I do iHeart it.
I love radio. And then you can listen to us anywhere on the face of the earth. On this Tuesday, the 26th of February. Oh, how many days in February?
28 this year.
So only 2 more. And when is the leap year?
Every 4 years.
4 years.
Every 4 years. Okay. Just checking. Making sure
He just wants us.
Every 4 years except
this thing.
the time when it's every 100 years. Then there's not a leap year.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Interesting.
It's a non-leap century, I think it's called. We just had
I
one.
see.
I think it was
Except
back in
if you follow
2000.
the Jewish calendar, and then it's
Yeah,
what,
yeah,
every
yeah.
7
And
years?
it followed the.
I'm just. I was adjusting wires down here. It may have looked a little funny on camera. But no, it really was. This thing was getting loose right here.
All right.
It's true, because I could see from over
Yes.
here, and really, that's all he was doing.
Right, Tom. Right.
But
Yeah, yeah.
you gotta
We'll
be
cover it
careful
for
when
you,
you're
don't
on
worry.
camera.
We'll lie for you, Tom.
Careful when you're on camera. Okay, now.
What are you going to feel some of this is going to end up on Jon Stewart one night?
Yeah. We're going to have him on our show, is what we're going to do. All right. We have some great stuff. Now, did you guys get the videos and all
I
that?
haven't gotten anything, Tom.
All right. Go to your email. I even printed out a list with the times, and we're right on. We're right on the times.
Right on time. Huh?
If you can go there and find a song. It's a video by a guy by the name of Eric.
Okay.
I'd like to play that. If you can find that, it'll
Alright.
start our segment on
If I can get this going.
on this hour here. So see if you can do that. And while we're stalling for time,
Well, we're stalling
CJ,
for time, CJ.
Yes.
how was your day?
Tom? My day has been swell so
Did you
far.
bring us little snacks?
Yes, I did. They're on the table with the snack masters.
Oh,
Yes, I did. They're on the table.
oh, that's me, I think.
That's you.
It's you.
Is that
That's
what I
me.
sound like?
Yes, you do.
Really?
Scratchy and No, you sound fine. A little delay here. We the people. You have your column, I have my column.
Yeah,
Look, it's so windy in here that the paper's blowing around.
I know.
I'd prefer
I
that,
know.
though. Prefer to weight the paper down.
Tears in heaven.
Yes.
Yes,
Why
that
don't
would
you
be
play
the
that?
one.
And there's a method to my madness.
It's really strange to revisit something from 20 years ago. It just seems like it was in another,
Somebody,
truly another lifetime. And
somebody on the
we learned
chat.
nothing from it.
Somebody on the chat is saying the fan is blowing the paper around. Yes, we know, but
You guys
too
have-
bad. Okay, you're gonna no,
The fan went too high.
no, it's
No,
not.
no, it's
no,
good.
no,
I can hear it.
Yeah, I
That's
hear
what
it a
that- That's
little
what
bit.
that sound is. Turn it down one notch.
I hear it,
It's on the lowest, I'll move it back.
Move it back. That's
but
what I'm
it's
hearing.
better than hearing us
No.
sweat. It's better than hearing us
No, it's
sweat.
not.
But anyway, someone wrote the fan is blowing the paper around. Then they wrote, Tom, I don't know if you know it, but Coop died yesterday.
Yes.
Let me tell you, whoever
We
just
have
wrote
this
that.
psychic thing.
We can't hear the fan. So they're saying
Yeah,
they
can't hear
it.
the
I can
fan.
hear it.
Well,
can
I don't
hear
care if you can hear
Yeah,
it.
we like the fan.
We like the
Oh,
fan. Damon, bring the fan back.
I just moved it back a little.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what happens.
guys-
But let me tell you about this Coop thing.
You guys are the biggest bunch of wusses.
I haven't.
People that
Oh,
work on
yeah.
farm for a
Yeah,
living.
yeah.
I haven't spoken about Dr. Coop, C. Everett Koop, in years. He just never came up in a conversation.
Right.
But yesterday, as I was explaining the seductive nature of Washington, D.C., particularly when you're in the power mode with power people, I spoke about C. Everett Koop. And when I got home and put on the news, C. Everett Koop died.
I couldn't believe it.
He was I wrote you a quick note,
Yeah.
and I wrote somebody else a note and said, I spoke about Coop today, and he died. And the other person I wrote to says, hey, I got a long list of names I want you to speak about, right? And I said, well, no, you're not going to do that. But 96 years old, tremendous Christian man, family man, servant, public servant, really a great guy. Okay, Coop was 96.
shame.
It's Joe. Hi, Joe.
Real
How you
shame.
doing?
You ready?
That was, yeah. Let's do this, folks. We want to talk about what took place 20 years ago today, but I want to bring you back a little bit in time.
Would you know my name if I saw you? It wouldn't be the same
That's not me.
if I saw you. I must be strong and carry on.
Okay. We can just
Cause
wind
I
it up.
know
Oh, yeah.
I
End it.
don't belong here in heaven.
Okay, we can wind out of that. And CJ just gave me some very bad news. Can you read that?
Yes, I can. The contentious Senate struggle over Chuck Hagel's confirmation is drawing to a close. The Senate voted 71 to 27
Wow.
to end debate on Hagel's bid to replace Leon Panetta as Secretary of Defense.
Okay, we lost all the audio
Yeah,
here.
we
It
did.
just came back.
Yeah.
70.
71 to 27, the Senate voted to end debate on Hagel to be Secretary of Defense. How many Republicans?
Somebody's
in
got
the
to check
Senate?
that out.
I just heard it on C-SPAN.
Well,
Yeah.
No, I mean, can you guys see
I just
what
heard
No, I want to see what Republicans had the vote
Right.
to end cloture.
Right.
Who were they? That's crazy. See if you guys can find the names of the Republicans. What is that all about? So they closed the
Right. So
filibuster.
in essence, he's the next.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
unless some of the Republicans just said, okay, we'll close it, but we're not going to vote for him. We got to see who these people are. So if you guys, Mike, if you could look up the names of the Republicans, then the vote, the 71 to what, 21?
27.
I thought it was 70, but it's 71. C-SPAN
71.
reported
It's
it's
98.
70, so.
And 2 people didn't vote, so we got to see that. But we'll do that in the next hour. But this hour, we just played, I just sent you what we're going to use right now. I just sent you an email. Check out your email.
Okay.
The song we just played, anybody know the name of that song?
Tears in Heaven?
Tears in Heaven. Yeah, it was the record of the year, the song of the year, Eric Clapton, 1993.
Was it really?
Do you remember who the president was in 1993?
I certainly do.
Blake Willett?
It was Hillary Clinton.
It was Hillary Clinton. She was the president through channeling herself through her husband Bill, 1993. The population of the United States was 5.5 billion. This is 20 years ago. It's now 7 billion. Also, the Israeli-Palestinian
I'm
Accord.
sorry, can you say that again? What'd you just say?
Also, the Israel. We can lower the music, the background music. That was a very sad song too.
The world population.
The world population
Okay,
was
I
5.
thought you said the U.S. population.
No, 5.5 billion, and I may have said the world, but the U.S. 5.5. The world population is now around 7. In 1993, okay, we can take that. In 1993, probably breaking every law there is. In 1993, the Israeli-Palestinian Accord was reached. Which accord was that?
In 1993?
Oslo, right? Yeah, I think that was
That's
Oslo.
Oslo.
Yeah, Oslo, 1993.
Yeah. And now we have a syndrome built around it.
President Clinton agreed to compromise on the military's ban on homosexuals.
Don't ask, don't tell.
He wanted to out the homosexuals and have it all that stuff, and then don't ask, tell. He said, all right, don't ask, don't tell. So 20 years ago, took 20
And now
years.
you're supposed to ask and tell and
So
together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ask,
Kiss and tell.
kiss and tell. Yeah, the kiss
Yeah.
and tell military.
93 is also infamous for April 19th, which led to other serious problems when the Branch Davidians, David Koresh in Texas, in Waco, Texas,
Janet Reno?
Janet Reno sent in the federal troops with the tanks, with the barrels that were shooting gas and flames, and burned down and killed, I think, 56 people.
And she never did catch any real flack on that. I mean, she got a little bit of negative press on it, but nothing really ever happened with her with that thing.
No, and guess what else in 1993? The 2 police officers were convicted on civil rights charges of beating who? Rodney King.
Our boy Rodney.
And then we had another woman appointed in 1993 to the Supreme Court, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah, let's look to Sweden as a model for how we should interpret our laws in the United States Supreme Court.
What do you mean?
No, she advocated that.
Oh, one of her, yeah, she's, I
Yeah.
think she's got like Alzheimer's
She really
or
is
something.
for foreign laws for American courts.
Yeah. The Brady Bill was signed. Clinton signed the Brady Bill, whatever.
How about NAFTA?
And our federal spending was $1 trillion. We're spending $1.4 trillion.
The salad days.
Yeah. Guess how much a stamp was in 1993? First class stamp.
21 cents.
29 cents. Who won the Super Bowl, Damon?
Oh, we need to ask
San
Kenny.
Francisco 49ers.
Kenny, but Kenny's not
Kenny's
there.
not
Duff
there
is
today.
there. Who won the Super Bowl in 1993? 52-17. Somebody
Niners.
beat Buffalo.
Giants?
Dallas beat Buffalo. The Toronto beat the Phillies 4-2 in the World Series. Chicago.
Montreal won the Stanley Cup.
Yep, they did. Chicago beat Phoenix in the NBA championship. Steffi Graf won. Sea Hero was all of this stuff, 1993.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot that Michael Jackson had his first legal fondling case.
Fondling a little
Yeah.
13-year-old boy in
That was 1993. Yeah.
And River Phoenix died of a drug overdose on Halloween 1993 at 23 years old. Number one movie.
Lots of good movies.
The Academy Award Best Picture was Unforgiven. Clint Eastwood was the producer. Schindler's List came out. What else?
The Piano, Philadelphia, 6 Degrees of Separation. I like that one. In the Name of the Father.
So it was a wild and wacky year. We lost Don Amici. Nobody knows him.
Yes, I do. I know who
Well,
Don
no,
Amici is.
if you're over 50. You know who Don Amici is?
Nope.
No, you see, I told you. How about Dizzy Gillespie?
Absolutely.
Oh, you know Dizzy
All right.
Gillespie.
Yeah.
Okay. Frank Zappa. Zappa died in 93.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Wow.
The World Health Organization in 1993 said that TB threatens to kill more than 30 million people in the next decade.
Yeah,
So
well,
between 1993 and 2003, did 30 million people die of TB?
certainly not in the United States.
That would be interesting to check.
That would be very
See
interesting.
how accurate they are.
But what we're doing right now at 35 minutes past 3 o'clock, we're taking a look back in 1993. And all of us were 20 years younger. If you're just 10 years old and you're watching our show, you were minus 10 years in 1993. Go ask your mommy and daddy about that, how that works, okay?
Right.
And while you're there, take some money out of their wallet and mail it to.
Just hit the donate button. That's all you got to do.
Do you remember what happened, the big scandal with Soupy Sales? He told, on a TV show, he told the kids, go in your mommy and daddy's wallet,
Well, you got to
take
explain
the
who
money
Soupy
out.
Sales is
The
first.
whole
though.
Soupy Sales, yeah. I saw when I was at the National
If you don't know Don
Archives.
Amici, you probably don't know Soupy Sale. You do.
When I was
Okay.
at the
I'm
National
sure you know all the
Archives.
Stooges too, right?
There's more than 3 Stooges. We know that. There's a bunch of Stooges.
Yes.
Like 10
Washington.
Don't make me say it.
No, Soupy Sales was a comedian on television. He told the
He
kids,
was on all the game
oh,
shows.
go into your closet, go into your parents' room. Your daddy has his pants over the chair. Take his wallet out, take some money out, put it in an envelope, send it to me. The kids were doing that. He got in a lot of trouble. So, but those laws are no longer relevant. So
Obama did the same thing.
Obama's doing the same thing. Yeah, he's getting away with it.
Under the auspices of the federal government.
But we want to take you back to 1993 to show you how 20 years can change the world in many respects. And in particular, we're looking at the first bombing of the World Trade Center. And one of the key names is Ramzi Youssef. I mean, if there ever was a scum of an individual on the face
He's a
of the
total
earth,
dirtbag.
yeah, it's Ramzi Youssef. But he comes from good stock. He comes from very good stock. His uncle is just a 24-karat gold jihadi. His uncle right now is gaming the system at Gitmo. Gaming at Gitmo. He's asking for certain foods. He's asking for his little prayer hat. He's asking for prayer rugs. And all of this, his uncle is, that's who we were out protesting back December 5, 2009.
Khalid Sheikh Mohammed.
Khalid Sheikh Mohammed has a nephew. His nephew's name is Ramzi Youssef. And Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was the mastermind. He's a brilliant guy. That's why he's living large at Guantanamo Bay. We would take a little solace, a little kind of off-the-record satisfaction if we knew that these bad jihadis, that he beheaded Daniel Pearl, and this is all from a human perspective. If we knew that the soldiers, every time they saw Khalid, they would at least grab his beard and pull hair out of his face or something like that, we'd get kind of an
No.
immediate gratification that, okay, this guy's getting what he deserves. But that doesn't happen.
No, he gets the white glove treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
The white glove treatment.
Yeah, these are guys
They get
that
better snacks than we do.
It's really, really sad, the whole situation. But Khalid Sheikh Mohammed
And
is
Ramzi Youssef, gosh, I mean,
You
What
know,
did he
I
say?
meant
Yes,
to.
I am a terrorist and proud of it, as long as it is against the U.S. government and against Israel, because you are more than terrorists. You are the one who invented terrorism and using it every day. You are butchers, liars, and hypocrites.
Yeah, and that's Ramzi Youssef. He was the he built the bomb. He and a couple of others. We'll tell you about it in 1993. And where is Ramsey now? I meant to ask Andy McCarthy if one of you guys could see where Ramzi Youssef. I don't know if he bought the farm or not, but what happened is this: on February 26, 1993. A small cell, an Al Qaeda cell, essentially. It wasn't actually Al Qaeda. It was a cell, an Egyptian cell that had roots into Al Qaeda as Al Qaeda was developing. And the blind sheikh, his name is Omar Abdel, Abdel Rahman, Rachman, Omar Abdel Rahman. And Andy McCarthy got into a little bit of it at the beginning of our show. If you're just tuning in, you need to listen to the 10-minute interview with the former U.S. prosecutor that put the blind sheikh in jail. And we'll have Andy back in the future. I want to find out if he cross-examined him. I doubt it.
I didn't realize this about Ramzi Youssef.
What?
That he bunked with Timothy McVeigh and tried to convert him to Islam.
No, where's that?
And in 1995, he reportedly converted to Christianity. In 2005, Ramzi Youssef reportedly converted to Christianity.
Get out of here. Send me that article.
Yeah.
I did not hear that.
Yeah.
He still needs to, go to the gallows. But I followed the McVeigh case very, very closely, and there was rumors of Islamic influence.
Mm-hmm.
But are you reading something from, these crazy conspiratorial sites, or what are you reading?
No.
Okay, let me see what you got there. We'll check that out.
We have the video of the WTC bombing, if you want that.
Yeah, let's show. We're gonna walk you through this.
And we also have the images of the whole building itself, what happened, all those.
Okay.
If you want to go.
We're 41 minutes after the hour. We're going to break at 55. We'll show you some of that. We're going to get into the detail to see how these cells came out of. So these cells
What a
came out of
surprise.
Egypt.
Oh
Yeah,
my
what a
God.
surprise that is. And these suckers.
Where's the blind sheikh from?
Let me think. Egypt. How about
Oh,
that? Oh, that's
yeah,
pretty
okay.
interesting. He's from Egypt.
Yeah, that's
And-
the home of the Muslim Brotherhood, right?
Egypt.
And who's Morsi trying to get released to Obama?
Is that the blind sheikh? Oh,
From-
yeah.
And Morsi
From Egypt. Egypt, yeah. And what country is right next to Egypt that is made up of a bunch of Jew people?
Begins with
I
P. I think a P or no. Is it P or I?
Israel. Israel.
Oh, Israel. Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, but move on.
Let's roll a little bit of tape. We're going to show you some of the scenes from 1993. Now it's the middle 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Here, let's roll that, then I'll explain it. This is immediately after the explosion.
Yeah, this is the footage of people running out of the.
I remember those scenes.
I remember this, yeah.
I think I was in third grade, but I remember it clearly.
Yep, and just all these people running out of the bottom of the building, blood all over their faces. People are just like, Days, what's going on? What happened? What happened?
Yeah, for the listening audience, we're rolling tape of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing on February 26, 1993, 20 years ago, to this hour. Right now,
that's
it
when
was
it happened.
taking place. Right this hour, 20 years ago. I would ask those of you who were in New York to give us a call, but you can't do that today, right? Or can they?
Well, they could, but I don't want to.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? When I'm looking, I have to tell you guys, when I'm looking at those pictures, I'm remembering on 9/11
Yeah.
how calmly people were
Yeah.
leaving the buildings. It's almost like they thought it was the same like the first time.
Yep.
Okay, this is what we're doing. We're coming out of the buildings. We're coming out of the buildings.
Well, part of that is the whole. I mean, people in New York, New Jersey are different. They're just different, and there's so much craziness going on all the time that you have a higher tolerance for insanity, and so that was part of it, for sure. But and the other part of it is your mind doesn't want to really tell you how badly things are. Sort of a defense mechanism for survival, but that changed rather quickly. All right, so it's February 26th, 1993, and 3 or 4 jihadis, Ramzi Youssef, Mohammed Abdulima, Mohammed Saliman, and this guy Mohammed Salaman. They selected him to be the driver of a fairly large truck, a Ford Econo van that had a 2,000 pound gross weight, 1 ton. One of these typical vans, you see these work vans. They selected Mohammed. Oh, the guy's name is Mohammed. That's very, very interesting. I think as a Christian, we have to start naming everybody Jesus, and they have to blow things up in order to truly honor their Savior. Mohammed Salaman was selected by the small cell to drive the Ford Econo van, and they rented it in Jersey City, I believe, which was very interesting because that's how they wound up getting caught. But Mohammed,
What exit was
the
that?
only problem with Mohammed, he didn't know how to, what?
Drive?
He didn't know how to drive. He had 4 accidents before delivering the bomb. The guy, this is the jihadis. Now, they built an extremely sophisticated bomb, and we'll get into some of the design of it. But they selected as the driver the one guy that didn't know how to drive. He had 4 accidents. He put Ramzi Youssef in the hospital at one point because he drove into another car. He kept bouncing off of things in New York. So I don't know. You figure out these
Keystone
knuckleheads.
They don't handle quite like a magic carpet.
No, the Arabian Night magic carpets. No, they don't quite handle that well. But the thinking is, and you heard Andy McCarthy early on in the show talk about at the height of New York activity, to be several 100,000 people down there. Well, the idea was to blow up Tower 1, the North Tower, place the Econo van full of the explosives at one of the pillars. You ever notice what degrees Muslims get when they go to the university?
Engineering.
Oh, they're engineering
Well, actually,
degrees.
no, only but the majority of degrees in the Middle East and over here are in Islamic studies. That's one of the big
Oh
problems.
no, many of these guys get
You're talking-
hard
oh, you're talking-
sciences.
you're talking the hard
They
science
go for
degree,
hard
right,
science
They go
degrees.
for engineering.
And they're engineers. And I sent you a picture of the destruction. Of
Yes, I
what it
got
looks
that.
like. We'll bring that up in a minute. But they originally, guess where they were headed? They weren't headed. This is some of the testimony. They weren't headed for the World Trade Center. They had another building in mind they wanted to knock off. Let's see your jihadi mind. Think like jihadis.
Well, I'd go after the Statue of Liberty first. Something that's
Well,
really.
you need a boat for that.
Well,
The Econo van wouldn't quite.
Well, I'm saying, as far as you asked me to think like
The
a
Empire
jihad.
Yeah, but
State
you got an
Building.
Econo van full of 2,000 pounds of explosives. Where you
Okay.
going in
The
Manhattan?
Empire State Building. I'd go for.
Is it in New York?
In New York. They went there
Cassius
first. We were there in September.
The Federal Reserve Building?
No, we were there. Mike, you remember?
Where at?
I know it's someplace.
In Manhattan.
It's
Where were we in Manhattan?
It's someplace
The
obvious.
UN.
The UN.
Right,
Someplace.
right.
They went to the UN.
But I
They-
wouldn't. But as a jihadi, I wouldn't want to go after the UN first. That wouldn't be my first target. That'd be my second or third.
That was their first
Not with
target.
the IOC possibly there.
The what?
They wouldn't want to blow up the IOC.
With the OIC.
Not
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
it was
OIC
a-
there, right?
I don't know if that was operating back then, as it is now. But they went there and they couldn't get through the security. they start driving in. The security was too tight. So they drive over to the World Trade Center. Now they had scouted all these buildings out. They had
Well,
picked
there was
ones
no
and twos.
security at the World Trade Center. I mean,
Well-
I was back there. I went to the World Trade Center many
Oh,
times.
they wanted to go underground. They wanted to go drive in the garage.
That's what I'm saying.
underground.
All you got to do is give a $7 ticket. You go
Well-
right underground under the World Trade. There was no security back in '93.
The testimony is the security made them pick their secondary target, and they go to the World Trade Center. They go in, park it, and guess how they lit the fuse? Guess what they used to light the fuse to the bomb?
Was that the one where they used a condom and burned fertilizer through the condom and it blew up?
Almost. It wasn't. It was insulated wire, but they developed a 20-foot long. It wasn't electronic.
No.
They developed a actual lit fuse, 20 feet long, and their engineering specifications indicated that the burning of this fuse would take between 12 and 20 minutes. This was like old-time bombs,
Mhm,
where
right.
they had the thing, and it was inside the van, and the explosives inside. They had the ammonium nitrate with this urea chemical around it. I think it was urea. Urea nitrate.
Yeah, it was.
And then they had canisters of hydrogen gas, like welding tanks.
Right.
But they placed, and then, as Andy told us, there was cyanide gas also. There was a little question about that, but he confirmed that there was cyanide. And the whole idea was to, the reason for the hydrogen around the traditional explosives was to create a thermo, I was going to say thermonuclear, but thermobaric explosion. Tremendous heat, a fireball that would just send flames out and increase its destructive capabilities. So they loaded this truck up, they drive it, they place it, literally lit the fuse, and then took off running.
Right.
And I think it was 20 minutes later, it explodes. Who was the one who, Ramzi Youssef, if you could find a picture of Ramzi Youssef, I'd like to put that up. He's a slimy, really, not that they all aren't, but he's a slimy looking guy. Do we know where he is? Is that what you said? That was the latest, CJ, for Ramzi?
Yeah, I sent that to you.
Okay.
I sent you that one.
Anyway, we have the
Yeah.
pictures queued up, ready for you to
Yeah,
go.
put a
but-
couple of pictures. Oh, there's Ramsey.
I'm just looking
No, as far
through
as the
the.
diagram.
I'm looking through the Hagel votes.
Oh, okay. All right, what do we have? Let's see our first picture of the World Trade Center bombing.
Well, I had the diagram. Is that what you're
Oh,
wanting?
yeah, go to that. I'll explain that. This bomb, the whole idea was obviously to blow a pillar, which would then, that's an interesting picture right there. The bomb blast went down 4 stories. It blew a hole, progressively different sizes down, and then it hit the plumbing and the electrical work. A little tough to see on the screen, but you can see the bomb blast, the 4 holes.
Yeah, if you can follow the mouse. Going
We're getting fancy.
You
Follow
can actually
the.
see the bomb blast move right down through, and there's the bottom of it. And going from the top of the screen, you can
Yep.
just see the blast get progressively larger and larger and larger, and going up, obviously.
Yeah, and for the folks on chat, yes, Andy McCarthy was on our first 10 minutes.
Right.
We interviewed him. You can look at this archive.
Right.
It'll be on not on Trento Vision. We're not that advanced yet. It's on Ustream/The United West. A different name.
Stream or YouTube?
YouTube. It's on Ustream. Ustream.
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's on Ustream too. Picture's too small to read. Go full screen. Can you make it bigger? That's as big as it'll go. Maybe we can zoom in. We're practicing now, you guys.
Yes, we are here. We are practicing. There we go. Hold on. There. we
Oh,
go.
look at that, Mark. Way to go. Mark's got cool toys. Now we need somebody to pay
All
for
right.
them, please.
Now you see it started at the the large water pipe from the Hudson River underneath, refrigerated massive debris pile from B2. There's the parking lot on the next level up. More parking there, hundreds of damaged cars burning in dozens. The Port Authority Control Center, badly damaged communication center with occupants lost. Parking garage, ramp to the west all the way up to the top. And as you can see, the parking garage is here.
All that damage, and the
Right.
blast caused the smoke, and we're gonna have to take a break right now, but the blast caused the smoke to go into the other tower, Tower 2. And part of the reason they put some of these chemicals there, they want it on the news. They wanted the smoke to go in both buildings,
Yeah.
suffocating and killing tens of thousands of people. Because the Jews and the Christians suck and Muslims rule. We'll be right back. Hang with us. 20 years ago today,
Bear with
World
us.
Trade Center bombing. We would like to say never again, but it happened again.
Yeah.
Be right back.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're still on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, you.
are we on?
We're on.
We're on.
We're on?
We're back.
We're on. Okay.
Maybe I'm gonna be on from there.
We on, Duff? Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Tom Trento. Welcome back to TrentoVision.tv on the radio, on the video side. We are radio for your eyes and television for your ears, as Mort says. And we're broadcasting from WNN 1470 in Boca Raton, Florida. But in actuality, that's why there's a little bit of coordination between when we start right now. We're working on those tweaks. We are in a deep inside a granite mountain in a bunker somewhere in Florida. Wherever there's a granite mountain, that's where we are. We're no longer in the WNN studios. We have built a temporary television studio to bring you the kind of material we're bringing you today, these extended and in-depth and in-detail reports. And while we get all of this stuff organized and tweaked, we'll do our show right from here. Then we're going to start building our larger studio that can actually hold a studio audience. How about that? A small audience.
Yeah, we're actually,
So,
instead of just a green screen room, we're actually going to have a full built-out studio.
We'll have a studio with different
It's gonna be
sets.
about 3 different sets all built
Yeah.
up. Like,
And
yeah,
we'll
whole
bring
9 yards.
people in. We don't know if
pigs
we'll
will
ever let
fly.
you go. We don't know if we'll let you go.
And this
But-
green screen room will be turned into a teaching room.
Yes. So exciting stuff planned on Trento Vision, all related to our country's national security, all related to all things Obama. And we put out an email last night that said, in light of the facts on the ground, that President Obama got the Best Actor Award. Best Actor in the United States of America. And I'll read you some of the copy in a little bit
Well,
of
they
his
had to give him an
acceptance
Oscar
speech.
because Al Gore had one, so.
That's right. I don't think I could
He
read
can't have,
all
he can't
of-
have fewer international awards and recognitions than Al Gore.
No, I'm pretty sure I can read his acceptance speech, some of the cuts from it. But speaking of all things national security, I don't know. Just, just we don't have the money. So I got an idea before we get back into our World Trade Center 20-year memorial anniversary recognition. Let me just read this little ditty for you, and you're ready for a little bit of information on Hegel?
Yeah, I can read you the yays.
No,
and
let
the
me
nays if you
read
want.
this first.
Okay.
What is that? Look at the monitor. We've got a head of hair in the monitor.
Somebody who's supposed to be invisible who isn't.
He's invisible.
Yes.
Am I in the monitor?
You
No,
were.
no, you're fine. You're good.
Your head was. Your hair was over there.
You just, Mike, you're okay.
But while we're doing that, Mark wants to be on camera.
No. I'm trying to quit it. Right over there.
Hey, you got to be careful of the shot behind you. Close the.
Oh,
We
there
should
goes
close
the
those
hair.
blinds. Yeah.
Yeah,
Before you put the shot on, Mike, close those blinds. Hey, Damon, close these blinds, please, on this side.
turn that light out. Thank you.
Yeah, and close the blinds. There we go. We don't want to give away where the
Secret
Granite
location?
Mountain bunker location is. The Department of Homeland Security has started releasing. Now here's what I want to ask everybody listening and watching. Am I reading something from legitimate news, from a sketch for Saturday night on Saturday Night Live, or from The Onion? Do you know what The Onion is?
Mm-hmm.
What is The Onion? You don't know what The Onion is. What is it?
The Onion. It's the online satirical news
Satirical magazine, politically
magazine.
satirical.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the three choices, everybody.
They do
The Onion,
videos and articles.
online satire, Saturday Night Live, TV satire, or mainstream media news. Okay, I'm gonna read a couple of things. Hey, I lost the audience.
No, you have my full attention.
Oh, I have your attention. Okay.
Yes.
We're
We're not your fan club.
I'm
fan club. We're actually working, trying to make.
I'm playing off the audience. I'm playing off the audience. You need that.
You miss the phone calls, don't you, Tom?
I prefer a live audience.
I
to tell
do
you the
too.
truth. Okay, I have one sentient, one conscious, one engaged person. Is this a statement? Is this something written by The Onion, online satirical publication, Saturday Night Live sketch, or real, mainstream news? Here we go. The Department of Homeland Security has started releasing hundreds of illegal immigrants held in local jails in anticipation of the sequestration automatic budget cuts.
Oh, that's definitely mainstream.
That's definitely fact.
Wait. The Department of Homeland
Say again, Tom,
Security.
I wasn't paying attention to you.
Yeah.
Please.
The Department of Homeland Security has started releasing hundreds of illegal immigrants held in local jails in anticipation of the budget cuts from the sequestration.
That's definitely,
Yes.
I guess, a fact from the mainstream.
I'm going to say a fact.
How many people think it's fact? How many
Fact,
people?
fact, and
Fact.
fact.
I mean, didn't Napolitano do this when she was governor of
Yeah.
Arizona?
It's The Onion.
Is it really?
No, it's fact.
It's
It's
fact.
fact?
Yeah.
Any other administration, I would say satirical. This administration,
It's
This is
funny.
Arizona.
It's really funny.
Yeah,
You'll
you can't
appreciate this, Mark, because I was watching Fox News earlier today, and they were talking about Janet Napolitano's, threats of, we're going to have to
This
shut
is
down, some big, important homeland security problems if sequestration goes through. And of course, there's a lot of low-level programs that Homeland Security does. Like they had a zombie attack training.
This is amazing.
Zombie
Hold on.
attack
Zombie
training.
attacks. That's some serious information
Department
there.
of Homeland Security
That is some serious- serious
filmed
worries there.
a training mission.
Don't be
for-
ditching my Walking Dead. Don't be dissing it.
They filmed they were shooting at zombies in the streets.
One day zombies are going to come and you're going to be so sorry that you're not prepared. Did you hear the other day that they put out the announcement, the national alert announcement that, excuse me, the dead have risen from the graves. The dead, and on the real, you know how they do the
Right.
National Emergency Service? The real one?
Mm-hmm.
So, someone hacked into the
Oh,
National Emergency
yeah.
Service and actually said, the dead are rising. This is not a drill. The
Well,
dead
I
are
think
rising.
we already saw this on November 6th, so
That's right.
I don't know why we should be surprised.
This is really bizarre.
Do you have another
because
one? Because we want to play again.
This is really bizarre. Because listen to this. We want to play again.
Yeah, we want to play again. We can get one of those little fans that's, just lift the fan that says fake or real.
This is Sheriff Paul Babu in Arizona, in Pinal County. He said that Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as
ICE.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, released more than 500 detainees in his county alone over the weekend. A spokesman for Babu told Fox News that ICE officials have said they plan to release a total of 10,000 illegal immigrants. 10,000. Babu calls this mass budget pardon. A mass budget pardon. And suggested that the administration is going to unnecessary lengths to demonstrate the impact of the so-called sequestration.
Okay,
This
well-
is really brilliant. Think about this. It's a no-lose situation for Obama. Why?
No lose situation because he gets to release the illegals.
Get him out. They love him.
which
Their
is-
families
yeah,
love him.
they'll-
Everybody
they
loves
vote
him.
for him.
Right.
So it's a perfect world for him.
Right.
And the people on the right who are angry about the whole phoniness of sequestration to begin with, well, they're not going to dive into this because they're against illegal immigration. So they want those people to stay locked up.
Well, yeah, and then Obama, President Obama, he's controlling the narrative right now. If you were to go out, and we're going to bring our cameras out on the streets, folks, in the near future. We have a couple of camera guys right in here. They're going to go on the streets and do some man on the street interviews. But if you go on the street right now and say, is President Obama for or against sequestration? And he's the one who came up with the idea and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
The average person's going to go, once you get through what sequestration is,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to go, oh, he's against it, man. He's against it. Obama, he don't want no sequestration. He don't want nothing like that. He's against that, right? So now when all these people are released, the administration's going to go, look, sequestration caused the releasing of the dogs into your neighborhoods. So this is really amazing.
Well, where do they get released to?
Arizona right now.
They get to stay in Arizona? They just get to walk out? They don't get bus tickets back to Mexico or wherever they came from?
Why are you so racist saying Mexico?
Well,
Maybe
because
they
you
came
said
from
Arizona.
Liechtenstein. Maybe they came from Liechtenstein.
There could be Lebanese that had come over through Mexico.
And how would you know who they are?
Carrying their brands.
Yeah. All right, so we're not going to play another one? Or are you trolling for another one?
There's just too many. We have to get back to our stuff here, but this is a national security concern without question, and we're going to see what the good folks of Arizona do. But right along the lines with our show, Trento Vision, at 18 minutes past 4 o'clock on the East Coast here, and TrentoVision.tv. I'm Tom, CJ, the guys are out there. We're broadcasting on WNN 1470 out of Boca Raton, 50,000 watt radio station. So tell your friends, we're on the radio all over South and Central Florida. And we're on the internet on Trento Vision and on iHeartRadio.
And on YouTube.
YouTube.com/The
United West.
The United West. And for our Tea Party partners, teapartycommunity.com. Welcome once again to the 4 o'clock hour. We're going to dive right back into a kind of a brief, a national security brief on the 20-year anniversary of the first World Trade Center bombing. So we want all you Tea Party community people to every day send out our material and get people watching from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Oh, wait. We have a surprise for everybody. As of yesterday, you guys can start watching good programming as early as 2 o'clock East Coast time.
Yeah.
2 o'clock, because there are Tea Party people in California.
I'm sure they can calculate
Yes.
the
It would
difference.
be
Tea
it'd
Party
be
people
11
are pretty
o'clock.
smart.
Because our dear friends, Ken Crow and I think it's Tanya.
I think it's Tanya.
Yes, it's Tanya. Tanya have started their show yesterday. They're doing a news briefing on a whole variety of issues from a Tea Party perspective. Ken Crow is one of the founders of Tea Party Community. And you all know Ken. He wears that 47-gallon black cowboy hat because he's a real cowboy.
And he has the accent to go with it.
Certainly does. He's got the accent to go with it.
He sounds like he's from Texas.
He's from Texas. He's a Texas cowboy, bull rider, all of that. Now living in Iowa. He's
Because why?
I don't know why. It's colder in Iowa, I guess.
Yeah.
But and Tamara is his Tanya is
Tanya.
his. We got to get her name straight.
Yeah.
Is his partner, and they do good. They go very nicely together. Do good stuff. Not like you and I.
No, we don't get along at all.
No, it's just they can feel the.
We are
angst.
being tested, though.
Yes, yes, we are by this crew. Let me
Yeah.
tell you. So be sure to tune in, teapartycommunity.com. 2 o'clock programming starts, and we're gonna have the regular programming. Then we're gonna be producing some specials for you. special events on unique Tea Party subjects. So a lot of good programming coming out of the work that Tim Saletti, Ken Crow, and we are doing.
And by the way, we should say that people who are members of the Tea Party community are not necessarily identified as Tea Party voters. A lot of them are just conservative Republicans who don't feel very at home in the Republican Party right now, and they want to change that. So it's not necessarily that they think of themselves as third-party people. Really, they're just conservative patriots, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, good point.
Yeah.
So anyway, keep your eyes tuned for DHS, Department of, we got to change the name of that. Hey, any suggestions? Department of Homeland Security, DHS. How about DHI?
Insecurity.
Insecurity, Department of Homeland Insecurity, because it really is. We have some good
It
friends.
goes with the Department of Injustice.
Yes, we have some good friends that are members of DHS. They're inside, and you cannot believe the stories they tell us. You cannot believe, and
I've been told
we'll
that
bring
they've
you
been
some of that.
told not to arrest even when they know there's an illegal standing in front of them.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
It's beyond comprehension.
They're not allowed.
Well, we have ideologues. We don't have patriots.
But
That's
then
the
our
difference.
military has to let everybody out of the prisons in Afghanistan. So
Well, that's
they're not
happening
allowed to.
anyway.
We're not allowed to shoot at the enemy combatants who are firing at our servicemen and women in, battles overseas. So why should it surprise us that we're not allowed to arrest anybody in the United States?
Well, yeah, that's happening anyway, for sure. That's bad. But it comes down to ideologues versus patriots. President Obama and his ilk are ideologues. Going through school, all of that, many of them repudiated the national anthem, repudiated the 4th of July parades. They saw that as a Western or an imperialistic symbol of, they saw our military parading through the streets on 4th of July as symbolic imperialism. They repudiated, Obama and all his cohorts now, the feeling that the patriots get when the national anthem is played, or when you see the flag waving. This is phony baloney stuff for them. They're ideologues. They want to construct a society that is not exceptional, not better than other countries. They don't like the better than thing. They want a society that is equal or less than. This way, everyone not only has a fair shot, but they have they're given fair tools
No.
to
I disagree.
succeed.
I disagree.
What?
I think they want to deconstruct the society, which they've already been doing. And maybe we can talk a little bit about, what Rush Limbaugh's been talking about over the past week.
What's he
I
been
think they
doing?
want to deconstruct America. And I don't think they're interested in fairness and everybody being equal and everybody having the same thing.
Oh.
Because they know that under the system that they're enacting, they will always have more. They're never going to be the ones who have to wait in line for health care. They're never going to be the ones that can't get a decent education for their children. They're never going to be the ones waiting in food lines. They're never going to be the ones who can't leave the country or go on vacation or anything else like that.
Well, no, the ideologue. Yes, I
are
would.
privileged
I would
people-
grant that.
Privileged people in America who really, they have it all.
Well, I would grant what you're saying, because an ideologue is totalitarian almost by definition.
Yes.
So the principles of fairness and justice are secondary to the deconstruction. So yeah, in fact, we have some material prepared for the folks in a
Yeah,
little
we
bit
do,
if we
yeah.
get to it. If we get
Yeah.
to it, we're managing a whole bunch of things. I think I may have the name, the proper spelling of the name.
Okay.
To broadcast from Tamara Scott. Okay, somebody had given me the wrong name.
Okay.
Tanya. So it's Tamara,
Tamara.
not like Tamara.
Tamara.
Tamara, Tamara. Tamara Scott.
We will never, ever, ever get it wrong again, Tamara. This is our promise to you.
Yes, Tamara. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow we will get it right.
Who's on first, Tamara? Tomorrow. We'll tell you tomorrow, Tamara. I'm reading the rest of the
16%
message.
of the United
Yeah,
States
it's a possibility,
eligible people
Tim.
to work are not working.
What is it? Okay. America's still the greatest country in the world. Yeah, whoever's writing there. Fight for liberty and justice. Are you chatting?
No.
You should be.
I'm looking at
However
the
you
chatting
can.
too. Yeah.
Chat, chat, chat. Chit, chat. Okay. Now, before we get back to the World Trade Center bombing at 27 minutes past 4 o'clock on Trento Vision, WNN
Boy,
1470, we need a Hagel update.
A Hagel update.
Hagel update. Tell
Okay.
us what's going on. It looks like yesterday
Well-
we explained cloture, which is closing the filibuster.
Right.
And
And they voted today, earlier today, 71 to 27.
doesn't make sense.
2 not voting, but it didn't matter. They were both Dems anyway. And they're expected to vote later today.
How many Republicans voted for cloture? But let me tell the audience by quick review, a filibuster is a process to kill the clock, run the timeout on Senate votes, Senate decisions. And the Republicans initiated a filibuster because they were not getting the proper information that Chuck Hagel, former senator from Nebraska, Republican senator, said he would provide if indeed he was nominated to be the #1 gunfighter in America, the #1, the head guy for national defense, the head guy for national security, the individual that you will go to sleep knowing he is protecting the country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. This is the Secretary of Defense position. Filibuster was closed by a Senate procedure called cloture today. You needed 60 plus 1. You needed 60 people. How many did they get?
71.
71.
Could you name the Republicans that jumped ship?
Oh, sure. Alexander from Tennessee, Ayotte from New Hampshire,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Blunt from Missouri, Burr from North Carolina,
There's 4 folks
Coburn
right now.
from Oklahoma, Cochran from Mississippi,
Now you go.
Collins from Maine, Corker from Tennessee, Flake from Arizona, Graham from South Carolina, Hatch from Utah,
Hatch?
Johans
Closed?
from Nebraska.
Where are you picking that up? Where are you picking that up? Reading that at, CJ?
Let me finish reading it first. McCain from Arizona, Murkowski
Yeah.
from Alaska, Sessions from Alabama, Shelby from Alabama,
Sessions? Something's wrong.
Thune from South Dakota.
Okay, something's not right because there has to be a play in here that we're not familiar with right now. Jeff Sessions is an extremely conservative senator. Orrin Hatch, very conservative. Maybe these guys were bought off somehow with deals. You know, let's just get this thing. He's gonna be the
No
Secretary of
Dems
Defense.
voted against.
Who did?
No Dems voted against.
Did Marco Rubio obviously voted against?
Rubio voted against.
So Rubio voted against.
Paul voted against.
And taking the lead from Marco, and we do have problems with Marco, particularly on his immigration policies, but on his national defense, Benghazi, all of that, he's been pretty good.
He has.
So
yeah.
taking the lead from our senator here in Florida, the Republicans that jumped ship, we don't know why. We have to find out why.
Yeah, we don't
But
know.
it looks almost definite
It's a done deal.
that Hagel will become the Secretary of Defense. This is amazing. Frank Gaffney wrote a phenomenal piece today in the Washington Times. And let me see if I can pull it up real quickly. It was just here it is. This is no time. Frank Gaffney, our colleague, team leader on Sharia, the threat to America. Hagel wrote This is no time for America to have a mediocre Secretary of Defense. Under present circumstances, let alone foreseeable ones, it'd be the height of folly to give the job to someone even more deficient, Chuck Hagel. For purposes of calibration, Frank's saying to set the country in the right direction. When you calibrate something, you set it in the right direction. Frank says, for purposes of calibration, consider just the past 2 weeks' news. And folks, we're going to have a Secretary of Defense that has to deal with what Frank Gaffney, one of the country's foremost national security experts, saying has occurred in the past 2 weeks. Listen to this. China is threatening war with Japan and massively hacking government and private sector computers across America. The North Koreans tested a nuclear weapon and are promising to destroy their neighbors to the south if South Korea conducts scheduled military exercises with the United States. Meanwhile, Russia's nuclear-armed bombers circle U.S. bases in Guam as its foreign minister refused to take phone calls from our new Secretary of State, John Kerry.
Why, does he not speak French?
And Afghani President Hamid Karzai, oh God, former doorman in Midtown Manhattan. That was one of his jobs once. Afghan President Hamid Karzai, a man who owes his position and probably his life to American protection, has barred our special operators from fighting in a hotly contested province in Afghanistan, the War Duck province where Billy's son Aaron went down, SEAL Team 6. Frank concludes, it's a great article, but he concludes this section, this calibration, by saying, welcome to a post-American and increasingly volatile world. It is one where a steady hand needs to be at the helm of the Pentagon. This is absolutely necessary, arguably more so than at any time in past decades. And Frank Gaffney worked for Ronald Reagan as the Assistant Secretary of Defense, so he knows of what he
knows some
speaks.
stuff.
This is a mess. Then he goes on to give all the reasons why Hagel should not be Secretary of Defense. What the hell happened? Any analyses? Anybody? I mean, this just happened. Anybody see any reason why these
No.
14 Republicans said, let's let him be the Secretary of Defense?
Because they know, well, first of all, they knew that they didn't have enough votes to stop it anyway.
Let the filibuster go.
I think that
Oh, you mean the cloture.
the reason some of the Republicans,
It's not working. But go ahead, I could hear you.
I think the reason that some of the Republicans voted to go ahead and end it
End filibuster by doing the
was
cloture
to just
vote.
that even though they're voting to end the filibuster, they're still going to vote against it. But it still doesn't matter. He's going to get in.
Because you know why?
Oh, they just want to get on with it?
They
Like,
wanna- get on with it.
Yeah, let's get on with it. Let's not
Business
take up
as
any more
usual.
time with this. And we all want to be sure that we go home on Friday.
what, I was going to say, what's more important than the national security of the country and picking this ridiculous?
Well, you know, you're always saying, you know,
Yeah.
we just need to turn around 100 members of Congress and we can turn this country around.
114.
Yeah, I think we need a lot more than that.
Yeah, 114.
I think we need a lot more than 114. Anyway, I'm keeping an eye on live because they're going to vote for
Well,
Hagel
pretty
any minute
soon
now. Yeah.
we will have a TV monitor in here, monitoring the world's news. Then you guys are in trouble. Once we actually know what we're talking about, then you're really going to be in
Yeah.
trouble. Right now it's smoke and mirrors,
Well,
like the background. All right, Tom Trento, 435. We just had a serious national security defeat with Chuck Hagel now looking like the assured nominee, the assured confirmed candidate for Secretary of Defense. This is very bad. But why do we need defense?
but
Let's-
why? Yeah, I mean, you know,
Let's go back 20
John
years.
Kerry, Secretary of State.
Let's go
Chuck
back.
Hagel,
Oh.
Secretary of Defense.
Brennan.
John Brennan, head of the
Barack
CIA. Barack Obama, President of the United States. Susan Rice, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Samantha Powers, somewhere in the wings. Why does it matter?
What's Huma? What is Uma? Uma Abedin.
Yeah, we need a Huma Abedin watch.
What is she doing now that Hillary is no longer the
And
Secretary
who
of
is her
State?
husband?
Wiener.
Yeah.
We gotta do some-
I wish I had an Oscar Mayer wiener.
We got to do some.
The wiener that ended a career in the Congress.
You're okay. You hire the person to be your assistant. She's on the government payroll. Hillary, she doesn't get a paycheck anymore, does she? I bet you she
I'm
does.
sure she does.
Well, Bill still gets one.
Yeah.
What is? Oh God. What has happened?
Oh,
Well,
my God.
Christians want to not vote. This is
Yeah,
what happens.
that's what happens.
But it's very interesting. Anybody know where Uma Abedin is right now? Hillary probably says, "Oh, I have a transition time. I need her on staff, Bill, and we got to double her salary because she's very important to the Muslim Brotherhood now as our liaison to Saudi money that you need for your library. So give me some more money, Bill. We got to give her some more money." Or she calls up
I don't think
her
she has to worry
Jewish
about money.
donors,
Yeah.
you know, and hey, we need more money for Uma, and we'll say nice things about Israel.
Yeah.
So, well, what about national security? Let's go back to 20 years ago today when all hell broke loose in New York. Any of you been there? If you have, don't call us because our phones aren't working yet.
Yeah.
That'll be down the
Save
road.
your questions and bombard us as soon
Yes.
as the lines are open.
Volanda must be going nuts. I gotta
know.
call them. I gotta call them. And
I don't
Judah
even know.
and our
I don't know if
regulars.
she listens on the radio or if she watches on her computer.
Liberal Bob.
Yeah, all those
Oh,
guys, they're all
no.
going nuts. All
Yeah.
our regulars, our family, our audio radio family.
Yeah.
I don't know. But let's go back to
let's
20
go
years
back
ago.
To 20 years ago, what were some of the world events?
Well,
International.
yeah,
news?
well, okay, we can do a couple of the world events to bring everybody back up to speed a little
Yeah.
bit.
Oh, here's a man I miss. Václav Havel was elected Czech president.
Yes.
Oh man, that's a man I miss.
But what we were talking about was at noon on the 26th, 1993. Mohammed Salamid, Salamed, Salamid, who didn't know how to drive, and as Andy McCarthy said in our first hour, placed the truck, and the original target through some testimony was the United Nations, but they couldn't get into the basement properly to park. Came over to World Trade Center, placed the truck 30 feet from the sweet spot, as McCarthy said, the theoretical technical place where it was brought by one of the structural foundational concrete pillars. Blow that out, and the physical forces would be so strong as to cause it to lean a little bit. The leaning would cause it to start falling down. The falling down of Tower 1 would fall onto Tower 2, and you'd have a big gigantic mess with a whole bunch of gas in there. That was the plan. Weapons of mass destruction. They rented this van in Jersey City, and the stupids, thank God they're stupid. When the van blew up, you got to return the van. So these jihadis, this cell headed up by Omar Abdel Rahman, known as the
Blind Sheikh.
Blind Sheikh. Are you listening?
No.
Omar Abdel Rahman. What is he known as?
The blind shake.
The Blind Sheikh. Why? Why do they call him that?
He's blind.
He's blind, and he shakes. What's a shake?
Sheikh, that would be a title, a religious title?
It's a religious title, yeah. Typically, depending on Sunni or Shia, depending on
He's most certainly Sunni.
a level, a level you've reached, and your mastery of the Quran. But he's a sheikh, and he headed up this cell. And as Andy so eloquently said, Andy McCarthy, there's nothing he can do. Not only is he blind, he's got diabetes, he's got all kinds of physical problems. But he gives speeches, and he was giving speeches in the United States in the 90s going all over the place, even though he was on a watch list because he was thrown in jail for 3 years, Omar Abdel Rahman, for assassinating Anwar Sadat. Remember him?
Yep.
Why would he Why would he be involved in assassinating Sadat?
Sadat signed a peace treaty.
Back
with
to the
Israel.
Jews. Everything goes back to the Jews.
Yeah.
Gotta hate them Jews. Anwar Sadat signed a peace treaty with Israel. The jihadis hate Jews. Peace. It's a peace treaty.
The Muslim Brothers.
It's a peace treaty. Doesn't Islam, the religion of peace, want peace? They signed a peace treaty. Why would they kill the guy that signed a peace treaty? These groups of people, folks, cannot be reasoned with. They either have to be caged, suppressed, or in foreign lands, and we hope it never happens on our dirt. If they become kinetic and violent, they have to be killed as these wars are.
People need to
indicating.
remember this when Obama goes to Israel next month and starts trying to pressure the Israeli government vis-a-vis its relations with the Palestinians, the Egyptians, the Iranians.
Oh, but au contraire, madame. Is that French? That's close to French.
It's close to
Au
French.
contraire, madame. Frenchie today, our French ambassador to the Secretary of State, he's our French ambassador to the world. He said today that you are wrong.
I am wrong?
He said, we are going to Israel, and the president and I are not going to tell anybody to do anything. We're only going
We're
to
only
listen.
coming for a visit and
We're
have
only
a couple of falafels and leave
Yeah,
as
just-
quickly
yeah.
as we
We're
can.
gonna, have a little chat, kill some Jews, and everything's gonna be fine.
He said, we're not going to tell anybody to do anything. The president and I are going on a listening tour. And that's what they said they're doing. And they said, we only ask that all parties try to be as civil as possible and maintain as much peace as possible. That's what they said today. Unbelievable.
So we'll
Egyptian
be in
President Mohammed-
kindergarten and we'll all play nice together, right?
Yes, and we're all going to play nice
Yeah.
together. So, the
My computer's
brainiac,
down, by the way.
Mohammed Salamid, what?
My computer's down.
Oh.
Can't
Mohammed
can't
Salamid.
connect to the TV studio.
Rents a car from a New Jersey truck rental place, blows the friggin' truck up into World Trade Center, 26 February 1993, and as any brilliant crook would do, he reports it stolen, and he goes back to the place to get his deposit back.
Okay.
Really?
Okay. While all you guys are laughing about this, I just want you to keep in mind that between 1993 and 2001, they got their act together and they got it right.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Yeah,
learned
yeah,
from
yeah.
all these mistakes and making jokes about Keystone jihadis who learned from their mistakes.
Well, Ramzi Youssef, when he was being flown out, going to I think on his way back to the United States,
Right.
looked at the buildings and he said, "We will get them. We will get them." He was prophetic. What they did is they started recruiting, staying away from low intelligent voter. What is it? Low information
Low
voters.
information voters.
In any event, Mohammed Salamid goes back to now. Meanwhile, the forensic investigators moved very, very quickly, and they had to reconstruct as much as possible the bomb blast, and they looked for identifying parts. They found parts of the vehicle. On the vehicle were the ID numbers. ID numbers are stamped all over vehicles because, well, just common sense. And they found an axle with an ID number on it, and the FBI was able to trace it back to a truck that was rented from that facility in Jersey.
The FBI already had an informant working for them who told them that this bombing was going to take place. So none of this was a surprise to the FBI.
Well, let me see. Yeah, put my FBI hat on. Well, about a year ago.
And not the first time
About a
or
year
the
ago.
last time.
About a year ago, let me see what I can do here. About a year ago, I was someplace in the United States of America, and I had a dinner and a couple of drinks and a couple of cigars with one of the FBI. There were a bunch of guys. One of the FBI guys and one of the New York NYPD cops that handled that informant.
Okay.
And you want to hear some stories about that informant? I'll tell you one story. It's fascinating. Let me see if I can tell you this.
You have to ask.
Are we live?
We're
Are we
live, Tom. We are live.
Let me see if I can tell you this. Yeah, I think this is. I think this is public record. Yeah, it is. I'm sure it is. There was more bomb making going on, and the
Okay.
jihadis had rented a warehouse, and they had been infiltrated
Okay.
by the CI, the confidential informant, and then the FBI got some other people in there, and they wanted to buy weapons and bomb material and all of that. And as is typical in these kinds of cases, you don't give them real stuff. You give them stuff that is like almost real, but it's
Right.
not real. Okay, you don't give them real bombs material. So, but they needed them. The FBI needed the bad guys to actually participate. The further you can get the bad guys to move toward doing the actual damage, the easier it is to convict in front of a jury.
Right.
So, because it shows that they weren't coerced, they had their hands in the chemicals, they're stirring it up, they're laughing, and this whole warehouse had cameras all over the place, right?
Okay.
Everything was being recorded, and these guys are mixing chemicals and stirring, and they're talking about Allah. And, I mean, you could just imagine it was a
They're in full
FBI
jihad.
paradise.
They were in
for
full
jihadists.
jihad.
Yes.
And they got them on camera.
They
in
made
full
jihad fun.
They're
Well,
making jihad
when
fun.
the raid was scheduled, scheduled to go in and bust them, the plan was that their CI, their confidential informant, would be in there and would get caught with the rest of them.
Right.
And they knew who the confidential informant was, and you've got to throw him on the ground a little bit and all of that, and make it look real so this guy doesn't get killed later on. Well, what had happened was when the raiding team goes in, they got their wires crossed somehow, and they ran into the confidential informant and beat the hell out of him. They beat him to a pulp, right?
Right.
Just because you have to go in very quickly and dominate and gain control. Broke his nose, put him in the hospital, and the whole thing.
Well,
and,
it kept his cover at least.
but he was almost very seriously. They didn't know, the guy that was, some of the people that were doing this didn't know what was going on. But later on, he's going, "What did you do to me? What did you do to me?" "Oh, we're sorry. We're sorry." But
You had
all
to
of that
protect
is
your cover,
out of the
right?
public record. Yeah, kept this covered. This is 20 years ago. All these guys are dead or in jail, and they had infiltrated this, but there was not a whole lot of conversation between the agencies back then, which led to 2001, the World Trade Center going down at 4:50 in the afternoon, talking about the World Trade Center. So when Mohammed Salamid goes back to Jersey City to get his deposit for the truck, they throw the bracelets on him and say, "You come with us." And through that, they start breaking down the cell, and traced all of this back to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's masterminding, and through Ramzi Youssef. What did you say Ramzi Youssef is doing? I mean, you sent that to me.
Yeah, I said I read that he converted to Christianity in 2005.
Where
I'm not
is
saying
that?
it's a legitimate
Yeah, I mean that could be.
That'd be hard to believe.
According to interviews with, Unsuccessful attempts to convert McVeigh. We got to check that out. We're going to do a little work on this because
well,
that McVeigh thing is still
we do-
opened a little bit.
We do have the 1-minute clip ready for
Let's
with
do it.
Morrissey calling for the Blind Shake release.
Well, yeah, this brings it right down to this next month when Morsi is supposed to be coming to the United States. Let's play the Mohammed Morsi, president of Egypt, wanting his buddy Omar Abdel Rahman back home again in
of course, it never
Egypt.
plays when you want it to. Okay.
Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi will ask Barack Obama
That
to
sounds
pardon the blind Egyptian sheik who is serving a life sentence for the 1993 World Trade Center attack. Morsi made the announcement in a recent CNN interview where he said he will fulfill his pre-election promise to secure the release of blind Muslim sheik Omar Abdul Rahman during his upcoming visit to the United States. The Egyptian-born Islamist militant was convicted after the attack on the World Trade Center in 1993 that killed 6 people, and for his plan to bomb other New York landmarks. Morsi may have an uphill battle to fight if he wants to get the so-called blind sheik out of jail, as State Department spokeswoman Victoria Nuland has said that the U.S. has no plan to release the convicted terrorist.
Okay, no plan to release the convicted terrorist.
That means
So we
that
can
means
trust
that.
that.
Yeah, I
That
was
means
gonna
he's
say,
gone.
There's no plan to release him.
That means he's gone.
He's
Goodbye.
He's probably
Goodbye,
he's
Omar.
probably in downtown
I mean,
Cairo
she
right
didn't
now.
say, interesting. There's no plans to release him. That means we are not going to release him. We will never, in
Right.
any chance.
When I
once-
said, here's Victoria. When I said there was no plan, there was no plan. But subsequently, there was a plan, and the plan is good for all Americans and all Jewish people everywhere. So everybody, go away and leave us alone.
Yep.
That's the way she talks.
And
Dave.
let's go back to the 67 borders too.
That's coming up too.
Back to Al Quds as the capital of Jerusalem
And a continuous Palestinian state.
and a
So-
continuous Palestinian state.
Israel, not
The blind sheikh, he's in North Carolina right now in a federal penitentiary, and the only way I could see there not being, there'll be us protesting in the streets, but the left, I don't think the left would ever protest if they let him go.
I don't think they care.
No, they don't care. And
It
the only
used to
thing I
be
can
that
see
if you
is
were on the left, you still cared about national security.
yeah, no, that's a scam. The only thing I could see is Morsi and Obama are shaking hands, and somehow they dupe Netanyahu to come into that little circle, little triangle, and all three agree that if Omar Abdel Rahman, the blind sheikh, is returned to Egypt, then Israel's prospect for peace in the Middle East increases dramatically. And Netanyahu gets up there and says, we are in agreement with this.
If you send us Jonathan Pollard.
Well, I mean, that's the only way I see this happening. And what are the chances of Netanyahu agreeing to that?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know. Could
He's
be a
put-
side
he's put
deal
together
for
quite a
Iran.
coalition.
Could be a side deal
He's
for
putting
Iran.
together quite the coalition.
In any event,
You know.
a word to our WNN studio. We are about to debunkerate for a moment here, and we have the air pumped in from high above. So we're going to take the elevator up 3,000 feet to the surface, get some air. While we're doing that, you can take a break at WNN 1470. Tom Trento, CJ, everybody else will be right back.
Christ. Somebody tell me what kind of thing like this
Trento on WNN
very loud,
1470.
very loud.
On WNN 1470.
Wow.
Oh, they're controlling it over there.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Tom Trento, WNN 1470, Boca Raton, Florida. Mouth of the Rat, Florida.
Tom, you're blasting my eardrums.
No.
Yeah, you are.
He's controlling you or something.
Oh, man.
You're-
We are
Mouth
in the outer
of the Rat,
limits.
Florida. You know that's what Boca Raton means? Boca,
Mouth.
mouth, raton, rat. Boca Raton. Why would you call a beautiful town a rat's mouth? Hey, come on down here and live in Rat's Mouth, Florida.
Because if you're flying in your spaceship and you're looking over the inlet, that's what it
Oh,
looks
you're so much of a party pooper. We should name Boca Rat's Mouth. We should just call it that. Rat's Mouth,
We got
Florida.
like.
Orlando.
It
This
doesn't
ro-
sound
audio
as
did
sexy.
change.
Yeah, would you pay
The
a
what?
lot of money for real estate in the rat's
In Rat's Mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
fewer people.
CJ, if you could bring your mic, turn your mic and bring it a little closer to you.
Your mic closer.
You can rotate it and turn
Yes.
I could rotate it and turn it
it. Yeah,
where
bring it to the edge.
Okay,
Well,
we're doing
it-
some.
it's going to fall off the
That's
table
what I
if I
meant,
do
rotate
that.
it.
Pardon me?
Rotate it.
Rotate it where?
So the feet are like this. And then this turns too.
I'm going to knock that over.
See the way it turns?
I'm totally going to knock that over. Okay, I want to go home. I'm not having a meeting with you guys after work today. Oh, are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, we're
Everything's
on.
fine.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
good.
Everything's good.
Okay. Our computer doesn't work. It's too hot. It's too cold. Did you have your coffee today?
Yes.
I need some.
Yes. Did you have your organo gold?
Oh,
Yeah, they are-
we
yeah.
forgot about Organo
No,
Gold.
no, they forgot about us.
No, they've
They
called
for-
me a million times.
Yeah, they've called you
I
a
owe
million
them.
times, but have they sent me any coffee?
Here's what we did. To all of our
Please send
Sponsors.
Her, please send her coffee.
to all of our sponsors out there, we apologize for not doing your commercials. But we're a little busy, okay?
Horses.
Who?
The
Oh,
horses.
good one. We're a little busy right now to be doing commercials. We're trying to get this damn place organized and rolling so that we can help save America. Okay, you and your goofy little stuff. We're trying to save America. You want to sell stuff, man? For what? You're just going to pay more taxes. What's the sense of that? And poor people are going to take all
They're
your
going to take it
stuff
away
anyway.
and
Yeah,
redistribute
so
it
forget about
anyway.
it.
Yeah.
You know.
Go buy gold.
Just donate the money to us. Tom Trento, Trento Vision.
Hi, Tom.
Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
Tom.
Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see you once again. We're
It's
starting
nice
to
to
get
see
the
you.
kind of
And if you want to be a sponsor on the division,
yeah, and have us never do any spots. Join the club, okay? We can clean your washing machines and your dishes and your coffee and what was that guy's name? Paul Femin or something?
Paul Feynman.
Peter Feynman.
Peter Feynman.
That's right.
That's right. We forgot about him.
Yeah, we
No,
don't have
I
to
didn't
already.
forget about him. I invited him to the studio.
He will be in studio. 4:30 Friday. In studio. He's coming here. I don't know how that's going to work. Can we have a third person yet?
Yeah.
Okay. You got 3 mics? You say yeah, like
Yeah.
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 Like
Yeah,
this
sure.
week?
Bring it
Friday?
on. Bring it on.
This week?
We have 4 mics.
Well-
we have 5. We have 6 mics.
If there's anybody that we would love to play with their head, it would be him for
Yeah.
sure. So we'll bring him in.
No, actually, to tell you the truth, he's a little bit concerned about that.
About what? Appearing on the show? What are you reading?
I wanted him, I sent him a text message last week, and he didn't answer until the next day, so we were already off the air. But I asked him for some information that he had told us when he was in North Carolina with the RNC meeting. And he wrote back, "I'm not telling because you'll make fun of me." So
Hey.
I texted him back, "No worries, I wrote it down in my show notes. But I won't make fun of you unless you force me to it."
Yes.
and here's his response to us.
Yeah.
Tom, here's his response to us. Are you looking at the screen, Tom?
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. No, I got an email earlier today. that somebody mentioned Zuhdi Jasser, who's a controversial figure. He's a friend of ours. He's a controversial figure. But they said he recently met with Mohamed Morsi, president of Egypt, and endorsed him.
Zuhdi did?
Yeah.
Endorsed
And-
him for what?
Well, it had a positive meeting with Morsi. And for the
That
life
doesn't-
of me, that
doesn't
made
sound
no
like-
sense.
Doesn't sound like
Right.
an
that
endorsement.
does that okay? Now is that like from the Onion or
Is that from the? No,
real?
this was a friend of ours who's good on the jihad.
Uh-huh.
And I wrote back, I said, I need to see some
I need to
verification,
see some,
validation,
yeah.
documentation. And I just got an email saying, we can't find any, looks like a rumor, we're going to trace
Yeah.
the rumor back.
Well, there's always been a lot of negative stories about Zuhdi, you know, and his.
Well, because he lives in Zuhdi land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, but you know,
But-
I
but
think
still.
you know things that's said about Zuhdi. I think his heart is in the right place. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not. You know, any.
It's just he's in Twinkle City. He has.
Well,
this-
our friend Chris Logan, remember Logan? Logan's Warning?
yeah.
He did an attack piece on him.
on
Apparently,
Saturday.
Zuhdi did an interview with WorldNet Daily.
Right.
Right.
And he quoted some of Zuhdi's statements in there about the Quran, what it says, it doesn't say. And Chris Logan just sliced and diced him to pieces. And they had a run in a few years back. But if Zuhdi wrote what Chris put down in the article, Zuhdi's going a little bit off the reservation. I mean, he's off the reservation in terms of thinking that he can reform Islam, of course.
Right.
But now he's making statements that there's never any Quranic teaching that Muhammad had any interest in submission or subjugating people to Islam.
Right.
What?
That's what the thrust of the debate was about. So in any event, we'll take a look at that. But getting back to our issues at hand, the World Trade Center bombing, and more importantly in one sense, the Hagel. Are you online?
Yes, I'm looking it up now.
How did that happen?
Magic.
The magic line.
She put the on button on, maybe. Maybe
No.
that's what happened.
No, that wasn't it.
All right, well, we're trying to see if indeed Hegel was just confirmed. Anybody know that? This is why we need a TV in here. Or we need people that can do research. Or,
Well, I'm looking at the shot of C-SPAN.
We need a Google.
And according to C-SPAN, Senate confirms Chuck Hagel to be next defense secretary. But it
Well,
doesn't
that's
have the
a done deal
breakdown
then.
Of the vote.
Well, after the cloture vote, it was a done deal.
they just
because-
pulled
It
it.
was
They
a
just.
done deal.
But let's check those same guys to see if your theory was right, Damon. If what they did was vote yes on cloture, get the thing over with, and then no on confirmation, particularly Hatch and McCain.
Yeah, C-SPAN's reporting.
Okay, let's see what Hatch and McCain did. CNN does not have it. Oh, I can't wait. Thursday, we get all the world's channels at our fingertips. Actually, you got more stuff here. All right, you guys look that up. Let me continue on the 93 World Trade Center bombing. We didn't mention how many people were injured and how many people were hurt.
Yeah.
Now, going back 20 years ago, anybody have any kind of just a feel for what the death toll was, if there were any deaths? I'm not saying there were,
I think there were.
and what the injury rate was.
I don't know what the injuries were, but I think there were like 6 deaths or something.
That's one, 6,
6?
6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Yes, 6 is the number. There were 6 deaths 20 years ago. Monica Smith, I think just for the sake of
I think you
remembering
should
these
read
people.
them,
Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead. Why don't you read
No. You read them. I'm looking up Hagel.
Oh, Monica Smith, 35 years old. She's a secretary. She was 7 months pregnant. So that's 7 people.
Yeah.
She was in her office checking time sheets on the B2 level. Monica's unborn baby, they counted the baby, properly so. Bob Kilpatrick, 61 years old, a locksmith. He was eating lunch in a room next to Smith's office. Bill Macko, age 47, maintenance worker. He was eating lunch with Macko and Kilpatrick. That was Stephen Knapp, 48 years old. John DiGiovanni, I know a lot of DiGiovannis, 45, dental products salesperson, was parking. The guy just pulled in to park in the underground garage and the Muslim terrorist blew him to hell. Wilfredo Mercado, age 37, a receiving agent for Windows on the World, a restaurant that was at the top of the Trade Center. He was checking in deliveries. And ironically, listen to this. This is horrible. They built a memorial and a little fountain outside of the tower that was blown up.
5841.
5841 doesn't do it.
And stay on as my scheduler and executive assistant.
It was a simple majority.
Yep.
Done it once they voted the cloture.
Oh, that was simple majority?
Yeah.
5841.
Okay.
So that's 99.
4 Republicans joined the Democrats.
Yeah.
All right, let me finish this thought, then we'll go to that. They built a memorial to these 6 people. In September 11th, 8 years later, when the whole mess came down, that whole memorial was destroyed too. So really, really sad. All right, let's take a little parenthetical trip to Chuck Hagel. And what's the situation? The vote is 58-41. Who did not vote?
I don't know. I'm looking it up right now, Tom.
Because it was 2 people that didn't vote for cloture. So somebody popped their head up. And
5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
it just happened.
It just happened.
Okay,
5
we're
minutes ago.
reporting now to you guys driving in your automobiles all over South Florida, 5:18 in the afternoon, Tuesday, 20 years after a national security disaster, another national security disaster occurs with the nomination and the confirmation of Charles Hagel, former senator from Nebraska. He's been out of the Senate, I think, 6 years, running around the world giving speeches. He won't show all his speeches. He won't reveal all the people he's spoken for. He won't reveal the money he's made. It's slowly coming out under investigation. But 5 minutes ago, right around 5:15 East Coast time, Washington, D.C. time.
5:08 they reported it.
5:08, the vote was, the confirmation took place. 58-41, 99 people voting. And folks, you have a new Secretary of Defense. I don't know.
Tad Cochran, Mike Johans, Richard Shelby, and Rand Paul.
Rand Paul voted for him?
Rand Paul.
Well, then
That
goes
should
back,
not be a shock.
That goes back to the whole thing with his father, Ron Paul, being, the anti-Semitic.
Non-interventionist. Not an isolationist, but a non-interventionist. Problem is, Rand Paul is flying high right now in the conservative, libertarian, Tea Party world. He just took a nosedive. He took a nosedive on this.
Well, the thing about it is, and here's the point too, is 58. He didn't have to vote.
Click yourself on. Click yourself on.
No.
Okay.
He didn't. He didn't.
You're the
have
disembodied
to,
voice
I won't be
again.
disembodied again. He did not have to vote in favor of this. I mean, for the.
Oh, he did it on principle.
He did it on
Yeah.
principle because
They
it's
already
58.
had the votes.
They had all they needed was 51 after the cloture vote. All they needed
Yeah.
was 51.
Well, where did he vote in the process? He may have voted first.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Well, he
He
doesn't.
knew. I tell you what, these guys know what the
He
vote is.
voted against cloture, and then he voted for Hagel.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Okay, what we're doing right now, 21 minutes past 5
did you
o'clock.
confirm that
We're
vote, Ron?
confused. We're dazed and confused on Trento Vision. We are doing an analysis of the 20-year anniversary of the first World Trade Center bombing, 26 February 1993. We're taking a look at the cell, the jihadi cell, headed up by Omar Abdul Rahman, the blind sheikh who's in prison for life, but Mohammed Morsi is going to cut a deal with the president, try to get the sheikh back to Egypt. Over 1,000 people, I think it was 1,052 people, were injured, many of them seriously. 6 people died on that day. And the world was shocked, but did not learn the lessons necessary to avoid September 11, 2001. So we're talking about that. We're talking about the mindset that went into this. We're talking about the role of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who sits now at Guantanamo Bay, waterboarded scores of times, gave up information that led to the operation called Neptune's Neptune's Spear, which was the SEAL Team 6 capture or kill. I think it was more kill Osama bin Laden. They didn't want another Khalid Sheikh Mohammed gaming and scamming the system. But right now, breaking news at 8 minutes past 5 o'clock on the East Coast, Washington, D.C., by a margin of 58 to 41. 58 to 41 with some bizarre voting patterns.
Yeah.
The Senate confirms Chuck Hagel as the next Secretary of Defense. Why is this so bad? We've been yelling about it for about a month now. Frank Gaffney wrote a phenomenal article basically saying that he is no friend of Israel. All of the Jewish folks in South Florida and around the country that wrote tons of money to Obama, I hope, well, what do you hope? What do you hope happens? I hope that you learn, I hope you learn a big lesson.
People won't learn until everything they have, everything they own, everything they love, and everything they hold dear is stripped away from them.
But these are brilliant people. Some of these Jewish supporters of Obama are leading captains of industries. They're educators. They're highly advanced intellectual people. They're family men. I mean, they're great people, women. And I guess you get in bed so far. You're so far over the dark side that you have to keep rationalizing and justifying your actions.
You're so smart that you can rationalize your way out of a paper bag.
And if you had to admit you were wrong and say, you know what?
You could never admit you were wrong.
No, you can't admit it.
It's
Now,
Jewicidal.
You
It's
could
Jewicidal,
never
yeah.
admit you were wrong, and you would have to admit that you care more about abortion and gay marriage and recycling than anything having to do with a constitutional republic or national security or the safety and security of the state of Israel and the Jewish people. You just don't care.
No.
You don't care. It's low. It's so low down on your list, on your calculus. I don't care if you go to the synagogue. I don't care if you send your kids to Hebrew school. It's lip service. It's
Yes,
lip
it is.
service.
And
The credo of the Muslim Brotherhood: Allah is our objective, the Quran is our law, the Prophet is our leader, jihad is our way, and death for the sake of Allah is the highest of our aspirations. And this is who your president, who you love and support, is in bed with.
But that's old school. That's something that they don't believe nowadays.
Okay.
That's something that's
And
way
that's
happened
something
like in another
that-
time. CJ,
That your
you're
next
just-
head of the
you're just
CIA
making,
doesn't get, and your current
CJ,
Secretary of
CJ,
State
you're
doesn't get,
just-
and your Secretary of Defense doesn't get, and your
CJ.
President does get it, and he supports it.
we need a radio TV show so that we can help people understand what's going on. How can we put something like that together? You can help us. Donate. Go to
I'm sorry,
TrentoVision.tv.
I stand corrected. He just said that on July 2nd, 2012.
Oh,
All
okay.
also rejected GIs. I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
I'm
But that
sorry,
was
what
6
was
months
that?
ago. That was
Almost a year.
almost a year ago. No, it wasn't July.
All right, well, the bottom line is this. For all the Jewish folks that are supporting President Obama, and for the ones, forget about the ones that are not Zionists. In my opinion, you're a lost cause. Zionism is critically important to the national security of the West. I don't know if you've been following our show, and I don't know why you wouldn't be, but if you follow the show, we put all the pieces
Especially
together.
this week.
Oh,
Yes.
By the way, we do have that little Sharia clip that we played earlier with
Morsi.
Morsi?
We'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
If you follow our show, you'll know the name Mark Langfand.
Yes.
And Mark has been on the show many times, and he's laid out his domino theory, essentially. If Israel were to fall or become neutralized, then you will see a Shia imamate. They're not caliphates on the Shia side. They're imamates. You'll see the movement for a Persian control of the eastern oil fields of Saudi Arabia, and an effort to absolutely manage and control the petrol reserves in the Middle East, possibly even in conjunction with the Sunnis, so that they control the West. This isn't just Florida or New York or Chicago or Detroit. We're talking about world issues, and this Secretary of Defense will say nice things out of his mouth because you need your ears tickled, you big donors. You need your ears tickled, you non-Zionist Jewish folks. And this Obama administration are masters at tickling ears. So he'll tickle your ears, and behind the scenes, the deals will be cut to force Israel into a subservient position, rise up a Palestinian state, rise up a Persian bomb, and then America will say, we're simply a containment. The West now must contain Iran like we contain others. That's where all of this is going. We're in big trouble.
Yeah,
folks.
like the Soviet Union was ever contained.
At 26 minutes after 5 o'clock, just 18 minutes past really an infamous vote. I can't believe Rand Paul, who I was starting to say, this guy's pretty interesting. Maybe the acorn doesn't
He
fall
went
too far
over
from.
off on Brennan, not because of who Brennan is and what his history is. He went off on him because of the drones.
Yeah, right. Of course. No, he's been saying some stuff right, but he and his dad, well, his father for sure, they're not isolationists. They say they're non-interventionists. We don't intervene in the national security concerns of other countries. So that's just a foolish position. What's important to say is we're concerned about the national security of the United States of America. If intervention in another country is necessary to accomplish that objective, then we intervene in the other country, like we have in Iraq and Afghanistan. And if those wars were concluded properly, and George Bush bears some of the blame on this when he went
Quite a
over to
bit.
the dark side on Islam. No one, as Andy McCarthy has said 100 times, nobody wants to call the heart of Islam Sharia. That's the heart. If Islam were an organic entity, a monster of some sort, and it had a beating heart, its beating heart would be the Sharia, the path. We know, those of us involved in this work, know how Muslims view the Sharia as the heartbeat of Islam. And it is that heartbeat that is the threat to America. Well, when George Bush calls Islam a religion of peace, whereas he should have said, Islam has a brutal and vicious history. If Islam wants to be part of the world order in a civilized fashion, it must make these 10 substantial changes. Otherwise, there will always be a clash of civilizations against Islam. You now have the ball. Get with the program. That's what he should have said.
Okay, well, what he had to say was Islam is a religion of peace because he was sneaking his Saudi friends on planes out of the country on 9/11 when the planes weren't allowed to fly anywhere.
Well, I guess it's always good to have Saudi friends in high places.
Like President Morsi?
Yeah. How are we going to make sense out of all of this? You know what? We can't. That's the
You know
that's the
what?
wise.
I'll tell you what.
We do have that video.
All you.
You got it?
Yeah, good.
All right,
Bring it
well,
up.
let's play this and then we'll go.
Here.
Set it up. You guys set it up.
All right, this is President Morsi back in May.
Egyptian president.
Egyptian President Morsi running for the election, and he's speaking to his Egyptian crowd.
His constituents.
And I'll translate it for you as he's saying it, and you'll be able to hear the words because a lot of them you'll understand the word jihad.
But
Sharia.
what we want you to really pay attention to, even if you're driving in your automobile somewhere in I-95 or Dixie Highway or wherever you are in South Florida, listen to the intonation. Listen to his inflection. Listen to him as listen to his tonal qualities, and you'll get the picture.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, you're missing. You're missing reading it. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go back to the shot.
You want to go back?
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
I could. It's that old volume.
Take two.
Button. It's that old volume button that gets me in trouble every now and then.
Okay, start it up again.
Where is that coming from? Oh, it's our friends
Come
at
on.
C-SPAN. Go ahead, Phil. I get rid of
Phil. How much
Where's the
time?
laugh?
Phil.
Is that the
How
lead-in?
much time do we need to kill?
That's C-SPAN. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Egyptian President Morsi, May 2012. This is a video done by
قالوا
the
الدستور
Constitution is our
قرآننا
Quran in the 1920s.
كأن
They wanted to show
الدستور
that
حاجة
the
عظيمة
Constitution
جدا يعني
is a great
لكن
thing.
الإمام البنا رحمة
Quoting
الله عليه
Hassan
Hassan
al-Banna.
al-Banna, Allah's mercy upon him. No, the Quran is our constitution.
بل القرآن
The Quran was and will continue to be our constitution.
كان وسيبقى سيظل
The Quran will continue to be our constitution.
القرآن
The Quran is our
دستورنا
constitution.
That's a crowd chanting that.
والرسول زعيمنا
The Prophet Muhammad is our leader.
والجهاد سبيلنا
Jihad is our path.
والموت في
And
سبيل
death for the
الله
sake of Allah
أسمى
is our most
أمانينا.
lofty aspiration.
وفوق كل ذلك
Above all, Allah is our goal.
غايتنا. الشريعة
The Sharia, then the Sharia, and finally the Sharia.
ولا خير في
This
هذه
nation
الأمة
will enjoy blessing
ولا
and
خير
revival.
لهذه الأمة لا خير فيها ولا خير لها ولا نهضة إلا
Only
بالشريعة
through the
الإسلامية.
Islamic Sharia.
أعاهد الله
I take an oath before
أعاهد
Allah and
الله
before you
وأعاهدكم
all
Here
جميعا
it comes.
بغض
that
النظر عن
regardless of
المكتوب
the
أو
actual
النص
text of the Constitution, Allah willing, the text will truly reflect the
معبرا
Sharia
حقيقيا باتفاق
as will be agreed upon by the Egyptian people, by the Islamic scholars, and by legal and constitutional experts. Rejoice and rest assured that this people will not accept the text
عن مكتوب لا يعبر
that
عن
does not reflect the
حقيقة
true meaning of the
ومعنى
Islamic Sharia
ومبنى الشريعة الإسلامية نصا
as a text to be implemented and as a platform.
لن يرضى
The
بغير
people will
ذلك.
not agree to anything else, and I will make sure of that.
Take it back.
Okay. There's your partner for peace in the Middle East right there.
My Sharia, my Sharia.
You know how crazy this is?
Towards the mic, Tom.
That's. You know how crazy this is? I've seen that thing 100 times.
Right.
And I'm thinking how, and I understand, I've never held an elected office,
Right.
but I understand the difficulties in articulating publicly your belief when a clear articulation of your belief could create serious back-end diplomatic problems. So sometimes you gotta kind of nuance things. I understand that. I don't understand how this administration, in particular this president, can look at what he said and and understand what he means, he being Mohammed Morsi. He laid out the Muslim Brotherhood's motto for how they're going to rule the world. You just heard their president, I think it was before he was elected president, but he was saying, regardless of what the Constitution, no, what was that before or after he was elected president?
Before.
Okay. Regardless of whatever the Constitution comes to be, it's the Sharia. How could you continue, how could the United States of America continue in any sort of political or diplomatic relationship with Egypt, that guy being the head of the country, without a serious come to Mohammed meeting where you sit down and you say, are you friggin' kidding me? This guy right here just said all this stuff. You get everybody in a room. He just said all this crazy stuff. And everybody's cheering. And it's his background. You expect us to give you money and give you weapons and give you all of that? You know what?
Well, how many F-16s did we just send them?
You know what I heard? I just heard in an analysis, some liberals have defended us giving Morsi money and weaponry and the F-16s. You know how?
Yeah.
Well, they said he's going to get it from someplace. Isn't it better than getting it from the Russians? That he gets it from us, and we can control the maintenance, we can control the training, we can control all of that.
Right.
That's the liberal argument justifying our country giving stuff to a guy who has said and who believes that Jews are apes and pigs, Christians are apes and pigs, that whole thing, and Muslims have to rule the world. How do you do this?
Well,
It's
Jews are the apes, Christians are the pigs. Or is it, I always get that backwards. Which one is which? You know, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
No, you were going to say something about the liberal view saying, oh, it's better that they get the Egyptians get the weaponry and money from us as opposed to the Russians, because now we have some control over these guys.
It's insane.
How do we have control?
You know what, Tom?
Give them a nuclear bomb. Give them the secrets to everything.
You know what, Tom?
If that was the
The
case.
North Koreans
people listen to
are
what-
educating the Iranians.
When we
it's a stupid
talk about this stuff, you know, I've always wondered this. You know, are we insane, or is what we're talking about insane? And it's simple. It's simple to me. Everything around us is insane. We're just simply repeating it. So we're sounding insane for repeating what they're saying.
We're starting to sound that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
go ahead.
And you know, it's like and like if I told you that there's a guy who's going to cut up bodies, throw them in the refrigerator, and eat them before it happened, you'd say I'm crazy. He said, no, I've been following this Jeffrey Dahmer character around for a while. He's going to do that. That's what we're doing. We're predicting that this is going to happen, and every time we do it,
It's different. It's different because Jeffrey Dahmer didn't go around saying, I'm going to cut up bodies, stick them in my fridge, and then I'm going to cook them and eat them.
right?
Okay? But these guys, Morsi, Ahmadinejad, Mahmoud Abbas,
Hitler.
anybody from Hamas, these people all will tell you what they're doing, what they stand for. They are for jihad. They live to kill Jews.
Right.
Period. Any way they can. There is no peacemaking.
Winston Churchill called it the Black Dog because he was out there saying the same things about Hitler before Hitler rose to power. Says, listen, these guys are actually putting Jews in the ovens. They're actually killing Jews. They're actually doing all this other stuff. And nobody believed him. And they refused to believe him all the way up to the, to the end.
It's
And
like somebody's holding a gun up to you and tells you they're going to kill you.
Right.
And you're standing there rationalizing, that's not a gun. You
Right.
didn't really mean it when you said you were going to kill
He's
me.
not going to pull the trigger.
He's not really going to pull the trigger. But why would you do that to me? What did I ever do to you?
Right. And they try to put themselves into their positions, which is completely, and that's where the breakdown occurs. You're trying to view your worldview and your worldview in somebody else's shoes. You actually have to step in their shoes to look at how they see you truly, to understand who they are. This is what's not happening in the liberal perspective, because it's, well, I could never do that. That's the whole point.
Right.
You could never do that. And that's your breakdown in understanding here.
That's
you
right.
have to go and
That's
be
right.
in their shoes, understand their mindset. As Sun Tzu said, understand your enemy.
Yeah.
Well, listen to the enemy right here. Now, we're talking about Mohammed Morsi, the president of Egypt, 42 minutes past 5 o'clock, and his desire to get the blind sheikh released from North Carolina prison. Why is the blind sheikh in prison? Because 20 years ago today, he was the mastermind leading an Al-Qaeda type cell, and there was Al-Qaeda influence in it. It was Al-Gamia Al-Islamiyah. Al-Gamia Al-Islamiyah was the Egyptian cell. Well, the blind sheikh oversaw all of this, had 4 or 5
Oversaw.
minions. Yeah, oversaw. Minions.
The blind sheikh of
And through a series of good investigative work, forensic work, they all got captured, or some escaped. But the blind sheikh is in jail.
Or
But we're
some
talking
escaped.
today, in terms of the 20-year anniversary of the first World Trade Center bombing, about the immediate concern of Mohammed Morsi getting the blind sheikh released back to Egypt. That would be devastating for national security. And these two guys were just talking about the mindset of the jihadis wanting to kill. Let me read you the letter that Ramzi Youssef sent to the New York Times after the bombing. Ramzi Youssef, don't forget, he's the nephew of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who is in Guantanamo Bay right now. He's the guy that cut off Daniel Pearl's head, beheaded Daniel Pearl. That was back in 2009, I believe. Was it 2009? Or 2006.
Daniel
back then.
Pearl was 2006.
6, yeah. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed did that, and mastermind World Trade Center 1 and 2. Ramzi Youssef, brilliant guy, his nephew, after the bombing, Ryder truck, 1,500 pounds of explosives, blows up. Ramzi Youssef sends this letter to the New York Times. You want to get inside the mind of a jihadi? Listen to this. We declare our responsibility for the explosion of the mentioned building. This action was done in response for the American political, economical, and military support to Israel, the state of terrorism, and to the rest of the dictator countries in the region. He later stated, Ramzi did, that he had hoped to kill 250,000 Americans to show them the exact pain they had caused to the Japanese in the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. How do you reason? These are university educated. Many of these individuals are PhDs. They're extremely intelligent. They're not, as this administration would love for you to believe, the poor and the downtrodden with no hope, and all they need is a job. Give a Muslim a job and he won't be a terrorist. Yeah. This is nonsensical. They missed the threat doctrine of Islam, which the president just laid out. Morsi, it's the Sharia, subjugation of the world, submission to Islam, or death to Islam. This is serious stuff.
Islam.
How the hell are we going to protect 330 million citizens when this president, who is functioning in more and more of a traitorous behavior, even Andy McCarthy says his non-involvement in Benghazi may be a cause for impeachment because he failed at that point to fulfill his obligation as commander-in-chief. How the hell are we going to protect the country when the Senate, which bears the blame also, confirms the president's nominee, Chuck Hagel, or John Kerry gets put out there as the Secretary of State, clueless about Islam, and John Brennan, not clueless, possibly a Muslim, certainly an apologist for Islam. Folks, we have trouble. Watch Every Day, Tea Party Community. Ken Crow and Tamara Scott are on 205. They come on right before us. They're going to do a briefing on all the Tea Party issues. We've got to mobilize conservatives, Tea Party people, whatever political party you are, Republican, Libertarian, Democrat. Forget about the labels. I have been my educated life. Before that, I grew up in a Democrat family, blue collar, truck driving, New Jersey, union family. I saw the light, became a Republican, but I got to tell you right now, the Republican Party, the individuals occupying the Republican Party are not fulfilling the principles of the Republican Party, and that's there may be a systemic problem that will be difficult to overcome. To correct that, we may need to be agitators, a consolidation of patriotic people to be agitators to both parties, hopefully to move the Republican Party back into a principled position party. That's where we're going with this show. It's not just great information. It's not just a little bit of entertainment. It's activism. If you're interested in that, go to TrentoVision.tv, click on that little button, donate securely. It takes money to keep keep a tent over this circus. So yes, Martin.
And there's a lot of things that Rand Paul does that I really, really like. But I tell you what, it's like one of those issues where, one screw up is worth is
one big step backwards.
Was one huge step backwards in 1,000 attaboys.
Yeah.
I tell you what, this man right here that's on your screen right now just voted Hagel into the position.
Right.
And he's one of the Tea Party people out here.
Yeah, he's a Tea Party guy.
I mean, if he doesn't get blowback this, so what's he going to do next? Is he going to go for Brennan, as far as
Of course he will.
CIA director?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to stick a microphone in
Someone,
his
I
face.
tell you what, you people who are such big Rand Paul supporters, and I'm one of them, you should actually be just lambasting him. What the heck are you doing? Why did you vote for this? Are you going to vote for Brennan also?
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, should we be assuming that people who are who identify themselves as Tea Party people actually hold the same position that we do, and maybe they really do support Hagel for defense?
Then, if you do not understand why this was such a horrific choice, along with Brennan, then you're stuck on stupid. Because that's all it is. It's just pure blind ignorance. And if you can't see, this is going to, no matter what happens, beyond the economy, beyond everything else, this is going to
Well, he's got 5 more years in this term, right?
Who?
Paul.
I don't know if he's 4 or 5.
Daniel Pearl, by the way, was 2002. We just got an email.
2002.
Yeah, that's right. It was a year after
I was thinking of
Waltz, Daniel Cantor Waltz.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we
Now,
got
I
mixed
understand McCain doing some bonehead thing like this, but Rand Paul.
McCain and Graham, because they'll make they'll make the most noise, and then they'll vote exactly the opposite way. I mean, you can count on them for that. I just wish they would go away. I was talking to a nice older couple last night from Massachusetts, snowbirds down here, and they consider themselves independents now. They used to be Democrats, but they liked McCain. They supported McCain in 2008, and I remember, and I said to them, I just wish he would retire already. I wish he would go away. I don't think he has anything to offer this country anymore.
McQueeg, the guy, the commander of the, yeah. McCain.
I mean, he rides to his own tune, and that's good for some things, but
Well, this is a very disappointing
he
day.
supported the Muslim Brotherhood takeover of Egypt.
This is what we're talking about.
I think there's a bizarre irony here with the 20-year anniversary of one disaster. And look, Hagel's damaged goods at best. He is not riding in on a white horse, and everybody's looking at him as the savior of our defense department. and going to take us to new heights and reestablish the strength and fear that other countries, the strength of America and the fear that others had. Hey, the world's a rough place, folks. People will either love you or hate you or respect you. And we try to do the best to have them love us. But sadly, some groups of people, Islam in particular, operate on a whole different paradigm than Western thought. So whatever we do that's good, helping poor people and downtrodden, often from an Islamic point of view is a waste of time, because Allah has obviously willed them to be in that position, so why waste time? Why don't you think you see the Islamic world rushing to all these world disasters to help other people? They believe that's fatalistically the will of Allah. Westerners go, these are human beings that need help. Therefore, they're never going to love us. Anyone who has a Sharia mindset will never love us.
Will never.
Now, they either have to fear us or respect us. Well, how do you do that? Not by conceding or submitting to their flawed, deadly, satanic, and disgusting worldview. Not by doing that. If the West is not better than Islam, if the West is not better than the Sharia, then throw the towel in. What the hell are we doing?
Well,
if it's better, let's fight for it.
I think that's the whole point. I think maybe that's why it doesn't matter who the Secretary of State is, who's the Secretary of Defense, who's the head of the CIA, who's the National Security Advisor, because really what these people are doing is just presiding over the decline of the United States of America. And if that's what's happening, then what does it matter who's in charge of it?
If he gets...
Because if we're letting it happen, if the people of this country are letting it happen, then who cares who's on the top? The people on the bottom don't care. As long as they're getting their monthly checks or their perks or whatever it is, until it all completely comes crashing down around them, until the streets are on fire, until the buildings come down, until they can't send their kids out of the house without an army of people guarding them.
Right.
They don't care.
Nope.
So what does it matter who's in charge of the dismantling of the American military? It's happening. It's going to continue to happen.
All right, we got 1 minute left. Mark, your thoughts?
This is exactly what we said was going to happen when Obama continued his reign in office. The monarchy continues. The monarchy is going to get worse, and I fully expect Brennan's going to get nominated. And they're going to make a bunch of noise and scream and yell, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" He started to, okay, time to vote. Okay, vote him in. Yeah. It's like no responsibility whatsoever. They just want to complain and yell, and just the deficit, the whole damn system, the way it is right now. It is all because of what this attitude is in Congress. It's because they don't care. They all looking out for their own damn best interest.
I know. I feel for you. We got to get going here. I think you're right. I think you're 100% right that a significant change sea change has occurred, and if he gets Brennan in, then this is like 3 or 4 people flying a gigantic airplane, and none of them know where they're going or how they're going to get there. But Mark's point about the Congress is a mess. Look, folks, we got to get together. We got to fight this. Thank God we have this show. Please support us. We'll be back tomorrow. More information, and say a prayer for all the people injured and still alive 20 years ago today, 26 February 1993. Bye-bye.
Thank you.